Howdy folks, it's Tom here. First off, I'm very, very sorry the audio quality of this episode is fucking appalling. Sounds like my microphone was not working. It was when I pressed record, I swear. When I pressed record, that bugger was working, but sounds like it just didn't work all the way through the recording. So I didn't want to delete this episode and lose all the stories and all the jokes, so you just have to put up with it, I'm afraid. Complain all you like, send me them emails, call me a dickhead. Absolutely fine. I hope you enjoyed the episode anyway. Here we go.
And so it was, after his 3-week reign of carnage, Albert Camus came to find himself atop Mount Taran on a witch's brew of PTP, cinnamon, and bath salts, whereupon the sky did split from end to end and poured down fire upon him, and this is what he heard.
Hello. Hola. And welcome to the Pot Topic Podcast, issue 013, motherfucker.
13!
Unlucky for us, and unlucky for you listeners, because you got put on for 2 whole hours talking bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit. Oh, can we have that bullshit again? That
Bullshit.
bullshit.
Look, Mummy, you're talking bullshit.
Oh. I am one of your hosts, Tom, and to my left we have other hosts, Beth.
I am now very scared for Taran's future children, if he wants to have any, because that was a very, very disturbing lullaby.
Bedtime stories by Taran.
Yeah. Featuring bath salts, apparently. But hi!
We have Andy.
I'm just scared for the rest of us if Taryn ever decides to have children.
We have Taran.
Hello, and welcome to the Pot Topic Podcast. To my left, we have our host, Tom.
So
Starting,
messy.
I'm confused.
And we have Beth.
Hi, I'm Taz.
We have Andy.
I'm Darren.
And we have...
Well, I'd like to thank you for inviting me onto the show. Just to introduce you, I'm Professor Percival Pumpstroke of Penn East University. I am the Director of Studies at the Centre of Humanities Research. I specialise in teaching onanism to disadvantaged amputees with chronic ugliness. I think it's a great honour to have a chance to speak to you all, and I look forward to enlightening you on the glories of reverse masturbation.
Reverse masturbation.
Well, thank you very much for coming on. That's your segment over. Let's move on to the show.
Sorry. I want to pick you up on reverse masturbation. Is that where you start with crispy tissues?
Well,
I've been there.
That's how they make Kleenex.
Any tissue in a storm.
Well, I don't really like to trivialise the matter. I mean, reverse masturbation is a severe problem that is actually afflicting large parts of Africa where people have been ejaculating backwards, as in inwards. It is quite a problem. We are obviously trying to fight it as much as we can, but...
However, it does sort of negate the AIDS epidemic, so that's...
Not really, because there's a tendency to blow out the prostate, and that shit spreads.
Yeah, quite literally.
Good night, everyone.
Hi, Mum.
So, this show...
Oh, do you remember the heady days where As Bad As It Got was just dogging with Richard and Judy?
Oh, no. That's a classic. That is a classic.
That is a classic.
001.
It's now a
Sorry, Tom.
personalised Cards Against Humanity card.
Fuck,
Dogging
is that
with
what this
Richard and
podcast has become? We've basically Cards Against Humanity.
Live.
We're free to download.
Listeners, please hang on. We are not Cards Against Humanity. What we do is we have a pot from the host, we have a pot from the community, which submit their topics through pottopicpodcast.com. And we pick them at random, we talk about the topics that come up, and we do it for about 2 hours.
Oh.
So we get started then?
Hey,
Yeah, why not?
we did things in some sort of order.
And
This time.
next step is...
Whiskey!
So,
Give me the whiskey!
I've fallen in love with this bourbon. I keep saying bourbon.
Oh, it's pretty.
I like the Woodford Reserve.
That's one of Duff's favourites.
Oh, really?
It's
He's a connoisseur.
It is.
It's a honeyed.
It's very sweet, yes.
Yeah.
So it's Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, and it's got a little bit of paper over a pop.
Do you notice that, Obama? It's Kentucky straight bourbon, not Kentucky gay bourbon. Fucking sort out your agenda, mate. I'm going to Canada!
What happens if a gay Woodford Reserve wants to marry a straight Woodford Reserve?
Romeo and Juliet of drunkenness.
And it's completely legal in 50 states.
50 states of gay.
By the way, we are recording this on July the 7th.
Yeah.
So, just for you listeners who are listening in a month's time, we're not that slow.
Yeah. we only just caught the gay. They couldn't do what? Right, time for me to get some willy up my bottom. I feel like a ring on my finger. Bring it on, Colin.
I am actually going to try this whiskey because apparently it's quite sweet.
I'm so proud of you.
Would you like some ice with it? Because I'm going to have some ice.
Oh, it smells
Let's
quite
get
nice.
some ice.
Yeah?
I
Oh
never
no, it's
did
on the
this.
floor
If
over
you
there.
liked it, you should have put some ice in it.
Can we have the ice, please?
It was thrown down there.
As long as it's not vanilla.
was
because
thrown.
these-
Keep going,
Right,
gentlemen.
do I have a glass?
Yeah,
Taz?
lovely.
All right, you got like 6 fingers there, mate.
I brought in 5 glasses.
Oh, yeah.
and
Cheers,
There are
mate.
5 of us.
Oh, it's...
There's one here, there's one here, there's one here.
All right.
Oh, that's weird. That looks suspiciously like the...
Guys, can we just have a quick wander around the room and just put Hal's toys back in his pram?
There's not enough room for that many toys. My pram's too big.
Oh, right, so...
Whilst you get the ice out, because I've been meaning to do this for about Hal and I have not been on the podcast. Oh, thanks. Hal and I have not been on the podcast for a little bit, and even then I'd miss saying this a lot. I need to give a couple of shout outs. One to Andrew Kensit, someone that we went to school with, who's been loving the podcast and has complimented them and said that he wants to buy us a whiskey to contribute, and also to Princess, who also listens to the podcast.
Yes, he does.
So, massive cheers. This whiskey's for both of you.
Also, that we've had quite a lot of likes on the Facebook page this week, and it all seems to be Paula's friends.
Good stuff.
Nice one pimping us
Might
out.
be like Paula's sister or something.
Cool. Well,
Hang on, should we record this?
Rich Boopy and
let's stop slagging off Essex. No, let's carry on slagging off Essex. I was going to say let's replace Essex with
hey, let's-
Bradford, but let's do both.
Let's face it, it's like this triumvirate of separatism, basically. It's either going to be Essex, Spain, or America. It's just going to be like me ripping off
Beth likes it. Beth likes it.
These are cheers of like, I guess.
Yeah, trust me, that's her liking face. Hi, Mum.
that's what you like to tell yourself. Right, so where are we now? So we've done the intro.
Yeah,
We've done.
we have a chit chat now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, now we do a catch up.
Yeah, it gets a bit awkward when you have to be reminded to just have a normal conversation.
Be friends now.
I completely refuse to write down an intro sequence. I will get this nailed.
Good man.
Episode number 617. Oh, I think I got it, lads.
You did explain about the pots. Oh fuck!
Every week. So, what's everyone been up to?
Oh, hang on. There has been some big news. There's been some cool stuff done. In the past couple of weeks. But I need to get right in there and say today I had the very best spring roll I've ever had in my life.
What was in it?
Good spring roll stuff.
Damn son.
And it came.
That was...
Damn son.
Damn, son. I like it.
But was it vegetarian or was it?
It was a vegetarian spring roll, and
Then how can it have been good?
Where did you buy it?
Yeah, here's the thing, Andy.
Was it McDonald's?
It was not McDonald's. Where would you expect to find buy a decent? I say decent, a bloody good spring roll.
Leeson and Sons Upholstery Emporium.
Chinese restaurant?
Castle Fish Bar, ladies and gentlemen. A fish and chip shop.
That sounds
smashing.
Oh, that sounds like a magic place. We will take you to Castle Fish Bar, and there you shall be tortured by the Virgwins of Castle Fish Bar.
And then the oral sex.
Oh yes, the oral sex.
Oh, yeah. Spank me. Spank me.
So I think that's perhaps
shit.
the most. I think that's perhaps the most important thing that anyone's going to have to say at this point. So I thought I'd just get right out there and sandbag you all with that.
Nice,
Well,
thanks.
My week has been just as interesting. I've got 4 Xbox 360 controllers that I can plug into my laptop now and we can play Duck Game.
Duck Game.
Duck Game!
You guys don't understand yet.
What's that
That's
game?
not the same as Duck Hunt, is it?
No, not even remotely.
Okay.
You have,
Am I showing my age?
no, dear.
You're doing very well. Do you want your biscuits now? Yes, please.
You're referring to a game that was released in the year I was born. So no, you're not showing your age at all.
Fucking hell, 1993.
85.
2003.
Right. Anyone else got any interesting
Well,
stories?
actually, yes.
Go on then.
No, it's not surprising. No, it's just Plug City, I'm afraid.
Go for it.
No, I'm just rather pleased that two of the acts on the record label that I run have some rather exciting stuff coming out. It won't be to everyone's taste, and I will actually have that as the caveat and disclaimer for all, but the rather fabulous Agonist, and that's Agonist with a Y, are releasing their second album, the first on our label, on June the 18th, and doing a free show in London at the Devonshire Arms to release it. And if you turn up to the release show, you will get a free copy of the album. And they also
has the Dev become like even remotely relevant again?
Well, because
Yes.
there's so many there's so many other venues that are closing as well. So
And they're also performing in their homeland of Norwich, and also in the 18th at the Devonshire Arms. You'll get a free copy, and they're also performing with Spires, who are also on our label. Right, so and then combine that with Rannoch, who are from the Midlands. They've just released a teaser for their new video and have confirmed that they'll be releasing a new EP in September of this year. So go check out the Eulogy Media YouTube page, because it's a channel that's got that. It is just simply /Eulogy Media, and then check out Rannoch, because they're Rannoch Band, RANNOCH Band.
Ladies and gentlemen, on Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook, that shit out. So the Facebook group,
Yes.
I've already shared it on my own one. I forgot to share it on the Hot Topic
the
one.
thing is, it may sound like Plug City, but the only reason that those bands are on your label is because they're actually good. It's not like oh, let's just get some friends in. It's like these guys are exceptional. All of those bands.
There is a propensity for the standard model and structure of record labels to sign cannon fodder.
Who
will then feed, the larger acts on it. But no, it's because we're all, I know it sounds stupid and silly and sort of to say, but we do it because we're all mates and helping each other.
I'll have to give Spires another listen now.
Yeah, do.
Oh,
Kind of
yeah.
gotten-
You'd love that. Well, you
kind
know
of
you'd
got
love
more
it.
of a handle on the more extreme end of extreme ends of
If
metal.
you want to understand Spires, you've got to go back and look at the tour video.
Oh, God, yeah.
Eulogy Media,
Yes.
Which was Talanas and Spires on tour. That was fucking incredible.
That is
Video
funny
on
stuff.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go.
Yeah. Andy, anything?
Bloody right.
News this week. Yeah, we did.
He's podcasting topless, everyone.
Yes, indeed. This is the Hot Topic Top List podcast. No, well, this week, what did we do? We had
I'm so excited about this.
We had a lovely barbecue on Saturday, and then we did some more smelting. And
Yeah.
saw
I don't-
the
I don't-
output.
Yeah.
I don't think
Bloody
we've
hell.
spoken about the smelting on the
Good God.
on the podcast yet.
have we not?
No,
Oh, okay.
because oh no, well, no, forget that. Get the good one.
I didn't know about this.
Well, these are the aluminium bars that we made in the back garden out of
Photos will be up on
Yes.
the community wall.
No. There's only one important thing to photograph.
Yes.
And Andy's grabbing it now.
It's the smelted tiki.
Smelty tiki.
We smelted
God.
some tiki.
Isn't that
that.
so cool? I thought it was terracotta painted silver. But
Now,
it's
for those of
aluminium.
you listening in black and white, what I'm currently holding in my hand is
Showing your age.
a really worrying. Well, at least I can get it hard. It's first time this week. This is actually a worryingly accurate tiki that has been smelted by the. It is shiny silver and has all of the relief that one would expect from an extremely scary Polynesian sort of.
We made it out of,
Scaregod.
well, I say we, that particular one, like Andy made out of 50 beer cans.
That's very impressive. And I don't mean that in the kind of English teacher way of, that's very impressive, boys. Report to the headmaster's
gold
office
star.
immediately. You will get spanked for your efforts.
Well done, child. You didn't split the infinitive.
I'm quite impressed of how well it came out, bearing in mind all the research that I did on like how to do some smelting at home.
Yeah.
Was about 4 months ago I watched 2 YouTube videos, and then
I could probably do that.
a couple of weeks ago built a kiln in the back garden.
Well, I sincerely
out of
hope-
some loose bricks I found on the street. And
Oh, so it's locally resourced.
I bought a hairdryer from the charity shop.
Artisanal smelted tiki.
Fantastic. It's almost like the sort of free cycle business. We're going to trade out from Sheffield now.
I'd just like to point out we finally found something we can upcycle our empties into. We just smelt down beer cans into TPI.
Well, I mean, so we've been having talks, like myself, Andy, and some other. Well, we've been having some talks about what we could do with this newfound ability, back garden ability.
Back garden ability.
Back on ability 10, now it's personal.
So
Richard and Judy!
watch this space. Maybe there'll be some PTP specific
Yeah.
relative merchandise.
We can make the pots. We can make pots.
Oh, why the fuck did we not think of that, Andy?
I did think of it, but then I think that's beyond our expertise right this
true.
second.
Yeah.
Smelt it, bitch.
The funny ones return to the podcast.
Hello, Beth.
So, like, basically, I hope at some point you're going to be able to get a home smelting kit by 3D printer via the PTP P2P.
on FTP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, cool. Should we actually fucking start this? Because we're about 15 minutes.
Doesn't
Nah,
care,
fuck it, I'm
doesn't care
offline.
what I've done this week.
Oh, Beth, what have you done? Nothing. Shut up. Right now.
I saw my favouriteest band.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
Hiatus
that
Coyote.
Oh.
You remember? You're not right. Okay, so they transcend a lot of genres. If you think, oh, I don't like jazz, or I don't like, apparently they're supposed to be neo funk or neo soul, which just sounds ridiculous.
Neo-funk. I like
I've played it at so many parties and so many people that are from different kind of pop genre or a metal genre.
Yeah.
I've just seen their heads kind of like, you call it chin music when you go.
Oh, yeah, the proper.
When you're not
Get
quite
the
headbanging,
funk
but you really got the fucking. They are Australian and they just played London, and they were phenomenal.
They really were. But we should add, darling, supported by none other than Bobby McFerrin's son.
Taylor McFerrin,
Taylor
who
McFerrin.
is amazing. He's like
Bobby
bored-
McFerrin?
Bobby McFerrin saying, "Don't worry, be happy." You know, he of the
right,
hitting the
okay.
chest thing. But I didn't realise this. Bobby McFerrin's older than my dad.
I
Yeah,
thought
he probably is, yeah.
I
I
thought
just-
he was about 70, but he's not.
Oh, darling.
I really did.
70.
He's been going for a long time. But
Second World War, there he was on Normandy, on the beaches. Don't worry, be fighting the Germans with his amazing beatbox skills.
I do recommend anyone from any genre who likes
Yeah,
a good
do.
kind of funky beat, go listen to Hiatus Coyote. They will not disappoint.
They were
But
fantastic.
if you also like Boards of Canada kind of ambient-y stuff, go listen to Taylor McFerrin. He was wicked, and he filled the room without having to do it. And he also beatboxed in the middle of it into a song, didn't
Surprise, surprise.
he?
But
I didn't think that. Being
Yeah.
Bobby McFerrin.
But obviously, seemingly a consummate musician at the same time as well.
Exactly.
And Islington Assembly Halls,
And it was gorgeous.
wonderful venue, municipal, building and everything like that. But
our friends got married.
of the strangest thing I've ever given as an accolade to a venue, the most gloriously fantastic loos. Really, really phenomenally wonderful loos that stain clean the entire. Or maybe I'm just used to going to metal gigs where it's
Yes,
just like, what's
I
this?
think
Clean
so.
fucking loos. Piss all over that. No, can't have that. They had loos like loos like armchairs. And I don't mean the urinal. It was just incredible. Really, very good.
When will this Pot Topic podcast go up?
About
Sunday.
a month's time.
Damn. Sorry if you want to edit that out. But
fuck it.
Hal and I will be at the Chap Olympiad this weekend, which is the Chap magazine. It is an amazing. Would you call it satire?
Oh, is that this weekend? I've always wanted
Yeah.
to go
It's
to
this
the
weekend.
Jazz
Really
and-
good.
My lovely wife and I shall be.
Everyone look out for the newsletter. We've actually got some content.
Ah, that's true.
And we
The Chap Olympiad happens in. Well, I can't remember what the square is, but it's a square in kind of West End.
What we've been doing with the Chap Olympiad, over the last summer was at I was at Secret Garden Party and Wilderness Festival with the rest of the Chap
that's so
Chap
much
magazine.
fun.
It was wonderful. With the Chap magazine
jealous.
team, and we run the Chap Olympics there as a sort of fitting a few times each day, and we basically do that in a central square
My
within
favourite event is shouting at foreigners.
shouting at foreigners. And with the other one is not playing tennis. Where we have a full tennis court erected actually in the square, and the competition is to be able to not play tennis in the best way. There's the gin and tonic long jump. It's otherwise known as the hop, skip, and the hop, skip, and the gin. Yeah, it's a sort of. But basically, it's a load of games on a similar basis. It's a very fine excuse to dress up in complete silliness and in fineries and act like an absolute marvellous cad. And we will be doing so
on the Saturday.
It is on the Saturday.
This is this Saturday, so people will have missed it.
Is it a paid event? Do you have to?
You have to pay to get in, yes, but it is worth it.
Listeners, if you have a time machine, go back 3 weeks at least, and you'll be able to catch it.
Yes, or just look on the Chat Magazine's website and you'll see the features of it, and I'll be taking photos and everything. So,
or you've missed it, you better sign up to the newsletter because you're going to miss shit all the time because we're time travelling here.
Yeah, we're recording because it's a lot of people to get in a room together. I know most of them live in this house, so it's not too difficult, but we do record ahead of time.
We probably missed it as well. I'm going to plug something. I'm holding a live music event at my pub.
Oh, really?
Excellent.
26th of July. Yeah, you've missed it, everyone. Enjoy that.
How did it go, Tom?
Apparently shit. It rained all day, all the customers complained.
But the pit was brutal.
Believe me, roof out there. If you're listening, you're not listening. No. Slay them, girl.
It's got to be said, when it comes to pits, I've never seen that many people on fire at one time refusing to fall down. It was really quite a staggering sight.
I tell you what, a Godstone pit is a pit like no other.
Yeah, so come to my pub. Come in Godstone. Enjoy.
Oh, it's a motherfucking wall. What is it, motherfucking wall of ambivalence?
You know what they say? A Godstone pit is the absolute shit.
You know what they say? We're 20 minutes in. Let's fucking start the
podcast.
Hang on a minute. To commemorate it, Andy's decided to get clothed.
He's wearing a green t-shirt, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him a round of applause.
See, I was sitting topless because it's too hot.
I had to put shorts on.
Yeah, this is a slightly damp t-shirt.
Oh,
very wise, very wise.
I felt it.
Simple, logical steps.
Oh, I picked up a Dave Vincent from the community pot.
From the pole pot.
And I should just point out the delineation here. This is not Dave Vincent of Morbid Angel fame. This is...
You know that one that everyone knows?
Right. We've got a Dave Vincent community topic.
Topic.
Good words.
Hello, Dave.
There's a lot of words.
Hello, Dave.
This is a massive one, but it is actually really interesting. Okay, Dave Vincent. What do you think of the fact that movies? What do you think of the fact that movie studios keep making films tamer solely to get a lower child-friendly rating? E.g., The Terminator originally got an 18 rating, which has now been cut to a 15, but the new Terminator movie, Terminator Genesis, has got a 12A rating.
Really? I didn't know that.
I'm not surprised, to be fair.
Fuck's sake.
But surely it's sort of like because things like computer games or whatever, the subjects, the action side of it, younger kids play those, even though they've got 18 titles.
So if standards have shifted.
No, but you can make an action movie, and it's okay to see the implied death and destruction and the explosions and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Even if it's in like a not a comedy setting.
But isn't it the same board that rate video games in Britain as films? Isn't it
it's under a different rating. You mean the BBFC?
BBFC, yeah.
It's Peggy who rates games in this country, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the European standard.
Because that's the BBFC is...
No, that's America.
Peggy did the numbers on the back of the box. The front of the box is still the British film.
Oh, okay.
The BBFC.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like more games that get 18s, kids play those.
Oh god, yeah.
Whereas kids can get 18 games because their parents buy them for them. Kids still can't get into go to the cinema. That's why it's a 12A. Younger kids can get in with their parents.
I think Dave's right in saying...
They have changed since we were kids, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, it used to be just 12 when we were kids, wasn't it?
Yeah, there wasn't
my first
12,
film, Dante's Peak, motherfucker. Pierce Brosnan killing that volcano.
I do love that film.
That is quite good.
See you, geothermal activity. Irish bitch slap.
But I think Dave is right. I have at least heard of some films, they escape my mind at the moment, that have removed sex or swear words to make sure they're a lower rating.
Dude, Where's My Car was supposed to be an 18.
What? What were they going to do?
Drugs references, don't
No, it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be an 18. It wasn't.
No, because they cut it down.
Was it a 12 in the end? Or was it a 15?
Yeah, it's a 12.
Really?
There are.
That means more people are poisoned by that shite.
Oh, fuck
off.
Oh,
That was a
that
great
film.
film, but you're in the wrong room, darling.
You're in the room of people who want to go to White Castle just because they've got the munchies.
Oh, by the way, in case both of you missed it, in your absence, we by proxy gave your blessing to Baby Metal. Carry on.
I know, I heard it. I heard it.
He's got the hiccups.
I've never seen, ladies and gentlemen, I've never seen apoplexy up close before, but I think we're about to see something.
No, you have, because you've watched Baby Metal.
Can I just say one thing? Unanimous vote. We condone Baby Metal.
No. It's not unanimous.
You weren't here. Your vote does not count. Baby Metal, one of the best bands that ever existed. Moving on.
Define band.
Yeah, quite.
Anyway, that's a different topic.
Bang with 3 Japanese schoolgirls. God.
So there's an interesting yin yang thing that happens within different genres in film, in the sense that there are certain, if you work within horror, you are hoping to achieve an 18 or R rating or something like that if you create a film, because it will create more revenue.
Well, no. It's actually that's not it at all. Like, ideally, horror filmmakers want to make it 18. They really want to push it, but 18 horrors don't sell. Yeah. So, 18s in general tend not to sell.
I'm talking as in you think of like I call it like posthumous release within theatrical release sort of thing. What I'm saying as in like post-theatrical release, which then has the capacity to go into cult cinema. So what you're hoping to do is something, the absolute zenith of what we're talking is, I will admit here, what I'm talking about isn't sort of cerebral horror, we're talking like body shock horror and stuff like that, along the kind of...
Very visual.
Going from, 83, Cannibal Holocaust, going up to the present day with yeah, sure, but regardless of that, it's a pinnacle point of cinema. It is arguably the first ever found footage horror.
Definitely, yeah.
And
worth
then
watching, but it's a hard.
It's not well made.
It's
but
an
it is
Italian film, isn't it?
No, it was an American film, but with an Italian. Probably an Italian director who then was actually brought to court, and not just questioned. He was actually indicted with the murder of the people in it. And he had got the cast. Now, but bearing in mind this is the early 80s, and he had been brought to court over this, and he had got the principal cast to sign a contract saying that they wouldn't engage in any publicity or any other film for a year post the point of theatrical release. He then had, because this predates Blair Witch Project did the same thing. Yeah. But what then happened?
Passion of the Christ.
Jim Caviezel was But anyway, so they'd signed all these contracts and everything like that. Blah blah blah. He actually had to present them in court to prove that they weren't dead. It's just complete. Anyway, so going from that to that is then you have stuff like of modern day capacity, such as like Human Centipede 1, 2, and 3, but then also perhaps more pertinently is Serbian film that pushed the boundaries of certification so far, but in doing so awarded themselves such phenomenal cult status. And so what I'm saying is that the yin yang thing is that very specific to horror is that you're almost aiming to get your film out, agreed on distribution for theatrical release, and then banned.
So basically, what you're looking for is you've got to get publicity in Fame Gloria magazine, and then you've got to be released on Tartan Film.
Basically, almost precisely that. However, now I'm sorry.
So you're going for the cult classic rather than the money.
You remove its availability.
Money.
But however, just to revert back to what David was sort of saying about whether it's a slightly cynical overview of being like, are we lowering certification bases? If you don't mind me saying it particularly, maybe it starts as an abstract point, but I hope it makes sense. The sensitivities of people has evolved in a cultural basis for many, many years. What is inherently ungodly and shocking and terrible in the 1950s, which was like almost a sort of quasi-Victorian sort of, oh my God, I just saw ankle.
Yeah, you're talking about a bloody ankle right there.
Even bloody ankle. Yeah. But however, it means something absolutely different. But the only thing is that you start to look at it on an even more, much more long-range basis. Longer range basis, or much more longer range basis is the sort of...
The sensitivity of the populace will decrease with time.
Entirely. Yeah. And you look at what's on TV now. Game of Thrones, that would never, ever have been shown on a form of TV.
What do you think the rating is for that?
Go for Game of Thrones. Go for something like...
Hannibal?
No, Walking Dead.
Yeah,
like, that
absolutely.
shows,
sure.
Like, mortal...
abject horror.
Yeah.
Peril?
Headshots, all this kind of stuff. it's released on, is it HBO? I can't remember. It's on cable TV. Alright, cable TV is...
Yeah, but it's got to be on a past watershed, surely.
We have the watershed. Cable TV doesn't quite...
Really?
We're living in a world nowadays where...
There is no watershed because it's demand TV.
Demand.
No, but the thing that pisses me off about the watershed is that I'll see a film...
Fuck Mary Whitehouse. Fuck her in the arse.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have liked that.
No, I'll see...
Would have.
I bet she would have.
And
Just
she
not
would sign a
as long
petition
as
saying
it's not on TV, it's fine.
Stick a gag on her and tell her it's not her fault, and she would be well up for it.
Also, listeners, go watch the Mary Whitehouse Project if you
Yeah.
Mary Whitehouse Experience or Mary Whitehouse Project?
the stand-up show.
Experience.
Experience is it? Oh, shit. Alright.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Anyway, when I watch a film or I watch something, and then originally when it's shown after the watershed, and then I'll see it at like dinner time, and they'll just cut that scene, and it probably wouldn't matter to me if I hadn't already seen it.
Yeah.
But because I have seen it and I'm expecting that, okay, Taryn, do you remember the other day we were talking about Jurassic Park?
Yes.
And we were saying... we were talking about the fact that Samuel Jackson's in it.
Right. Yeah.
These motherfucking dinosaurs out of my motherfucking pop.
And it's his arm, when the girl is running through to turn the circuit breakers back on, when they've turned all the power off to get over the fat guy's hacking thing.
Yeah.
They have to turn all the circuit breakers back on to get the park working, to keep the fences working and whatever.
Yes.
Samuel Jackson goes, and then he dies. He gets eaten by raptors, but we don't know this.
That's right, yeah.
And then the girl goes to do it, and when she does it, she's running around the basement complex where all the circuit breakers are, and there's like several raptors inside this underground complex as well. And obviously it's eaten Samuel Jackson. She like runs away from it and settles and just falls on the floor exhausted. And Samuel Jackson's arm just sort of falls out of the pipes behind him and goes on her. And the conversation we were having was the fact that you thought the arm was white.
I do remember it as white, yes.
Yeah. So Jurassic Park was on the other day. It was on Sunday. Jurassic Park was on TV. And clearly to fit it into the time slot that channel had provided, it cut certain bits to trim it down.
Like the severed arm?
It trimmed the severed arm. The only reason I sat down to watch that movie was to find out the conclusion to that point. And it wasn't in there.
Do you
So
remember?
angry.
Do you remember the term? Is it mother funker, which was actually coined, funnily enough, by British TV. Sort of, as it were, certification, but sort of like, essentially what we're saying about here is oh my god, what's the, censorship.
Yes.
That when there's a few points around censorship that I always get really concerned about. I don't like censorship at all, but I understand obviously that if you're going to cause trauma to little kids, and you've got a bit of an issue, but you have to define various areas to give you some sense of perspective. When Bambi, we all know Bambi, whether you've seen it once or 17 times, we are aware of what
Best
Bambi
wank
is.
I ever had.
Right. Bambi was censored. Bambi was censored when it was first released. And now look at the reasons as to particularly why. So you get some understanding about certification and censorship when it was around, rife at the time. In the 1950s, it was the second baby boom after the First World War, obviously. So there were a lot more kids and stuff like that. However, also, culturally speaking, within America, nuclear family stuff, it was the scene where Bambi's mother is killed.
The only traumatising scene,
Right.
yeah.
It was
the pinnacle moment of that film.
The whole point is that she dies.
Okay, absolutely.
Basically.
But however, the actual moment when she is killed was significantly more detailed and graphic. There was a moment where you actually see her quite, evidently being shot by a man.
You see her fall down in the proper
bullets
version,
come straight through the face.
Yeah, like explosion. There's a Quentin Tarantino spurt of blood.
Close-up shot of Bambi's face covered in the blood of its own extinct mother, looking really confused.
He only realises it's his mother by tasting her own blood.
Okay, guys, this is where the crazy 88 comes out and they kick ass.
Numbers just over in the corner with a bit
Wanking.
of brains.
Masturbating furiously, like, why do I feel so righteous? Yeah.
Why did they cut that?
Right. Anyway, right.
She falls down.
Weirdly, yeah. It's when you watch it now, it's sort of like there's something slightly sort of pristine about it, and it's sort of like, oh, and that's this death happens. You actually saw a lot more, particularly of the human. And he aimed the gun and shot and blah blah blah. And the reason why it was censored out of the film wasn't for kids. It was an quote unquote, so that we do not offend the hunting society of America.
Really?
They don't want to stop people coming.
Because that was their that was their demographic. So now we're looking at the different thing. The demographic is in fact the young people. So there's a cultural shift here.
But do you mind? This is the question is what do you think of the fact that movie studios do we mind that they're making things slightly less violent and going
to get a larger audience
to make these films available to kids?
I'm honest with you,
do you mind that kids can now see the new Terminator movie?
I think it is a slightly belated concern, given the fact that we've been marketing in a very, very, very onerous way in other areas far more worryingly, in the sense of, look at Britney Spears, the first video by Britney Spears. You look at marketing of art in any way or strata and stuff like that.
Look at the fucking lyrics.
Oh, baby.
Me one more time.
Yeah, and she's dressed as a school. She's of age.
And
she
she's
was legal.
miming purposefully with a tongue out of her mouth.
Yeah. Well, it's not quite Miley Cyrus, but you know,
no.
it's.
Okay, so I've got something to add to like the actual topic that Dave has put forward, and that's
Let's go back to the topic.
Oh,
I know, right? Fucking revolutionary.
I choose to revolt. Anyway, cheese is really interesting.
Yes, but only when it's 18.
I don't actually mind it so much, because I quite often feel like when you end up hamstringing kind of what you can show, it forces you to be more creative, and at times that can be more powerful, like simply suggesting something or using kind of euphemism or...
I completely agree with you. That is better when you are doing euphemism and you are cutting out and being more creative, but I don't think people are. I think people are literally cutting out scenes.
I've got two examples that I feel work. One isn't actually movies. It's the book. It's the book, The Story of O.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Now that book wouldn't have had nowhere near the impact if instead of saying he entered my belly, the writer said he smashed the shit out of my arsehole continuously for the next half an hour.
That's poetic license, though.
But that's kind of working around it's still really pornographic, but it works around it, and it kind of makes it more comfortable, more nice. The other one I've got is actually comfortable. The other one I've got is actually movie oriented, which is forgive me, it's Guillermo del Toro is the director, isn't it?
I love him. What one?
He's been working on a passion project for a while. He wants to put H.P. Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness on screen.
Are you serious?
Oh, this has been in the works for so long.
Doesn't that sound like the perfect match?
Oh my!
Now
he is wicked.
He came,
but the mountains. He's actually doing the Mountains of Madness.
Yeah, this is his current project. Now he's made.
His other passion project kind of fell away with PTP, but never mind.
He's made a really interesting artistic choice, which I think is actually going to benefit the movie hugely. In that, because it's a horror, and there are scenes in that story where like you could sort of do the alien autopsy and show that in depth and really go through it. And there are other bits where you can show gnarly shit, but he's made the stylistic choice to make this this story 13 or 12A in this country appropriate. The idea being that he's no. Because the thing about Lovecraft is the horror doesn't come from what he describes or like the shit that happens.
Nameless horror, which he always refers to.
Yeah, it's all about like it's all about the unknowable and the constant threats.
It's all in your head.
And so he's going to be like, his intention is to push this particular certification as far as he can. Like I have no doubt that it's going to really push the 12A licensing, because the threat is going to be...
peril comes into it. People have to watch it and assess the the peril, which is untangible. But
Well, can I just bring it to a personalised thing? Sorry, Andy, you're about the salient point there, but it's that. Bearing in mind the areas of certification and classification in particular, that you have obviously like, U, PG, 12, 12A, 15, 18R and everything, or X, or as it used to be and everything like that.
Unrated.
Right. So something that Beth has told me about for quite a long while is that when you guys went to the Universal Studios. Now, this is right, but this I believe to be, but this I mean, as comical as it is, and fine, it is actually a pinnacle point of what the distinction is between 12 and 12A. You have to be accompanied by an adult, and when I won't paraphrase the story. Can you give the story?
Basically, there was a it keeps drooping.
No,
down.
it's because it's not tight enough. Oh, darling.
Tighten that microphone, dear.
Where is it?
You can't. You need a screwdriver.
No, it's okay. Just keep it like that. That'll be fine.
There was a virtual reality ride that had a dinosaur in it. What was it?
That was Back to the Future.
That's probably why we were in a car.
Universal Studios.
Universal Studio, Back to the Future. It might still be there, but I'm 27 now, and I was 6 when I went there, so it might be different now. But my dad and I got the first 2 seats in the entire virtual reality car.
It was only like a 6-seater.
I know, but I felt like, oh my god, I can't believe it. I got the best seats in the house right in front of the screen.
For those listeners, it's basically one of those. What do you call them? You sit in a
virtual reality car.
No, it's not virtual reality.
It is.
Simulator.
Thank you very much. So it's a simulator,
okay, yeah.
motion simulator, and it was going through an ordeal with Dr. Brown and you and Marty.
Great Scott!
To like traverse time, and all of a sudden we ended up in like Jurassic era or whatever.
I was so excited. I'm glad you remember, because I was so excited about sitting in the front row. I was like, I never get so lucky. Oh, I'm sitting in the front row. This is going to be so good.
There is something about sitting in the front row on a roller coaster, all right.
Especially when the screen's right in front of you. But
So
I was 6 years old.
It's all fun and games until you lose a leg.
I was 6 years old, and my dad covered my eyes when it got to the dinosaur bit. You're basically swallowed by a dinosaur. Bearing in mind that I'd already seen the peril of going down in this car into the dinosaur. But as soon as the jaws came open, he covered my eyes, and I missed part of it, and I was like, and it reminds me of another time we were around a friend of the family's house, and Rocky Horror Picture Show was on TV, and I was allowed to... I wanna feel happy.
It's probably that scene.
No, it's not. They let me watch absolutely everything, and I loved it so much. I was probably about 7 or 8. They let me watch all of it, apart from when he has sex with both the couple in a different room.
Yes, but isn't it nice?
That's that song.
Yeah.
That's
no. The profile you're
it's the
seeing
intro.
them in bed.
It's in silhouette, and I know it is, but isn't it nice? Yeah, but
all right, guys,
we are getting off topic.
Can I push us for like a final?
Sorry, it's just.
I don't know that you can,
Okay,
but
it's just-
give it a
well,
shot.
I'm
If we can
saying-
wrap it up in a minute.
I watched the movie, if you remember, Neverending Story, and my father turned to his brother.
What's my name?
Yeah, exactly. Colin.
Say my name.
Colin. Right. But anyway, so there was a point at which my uncle, my father's brother, turned to him and said, like, I'm not sure when the horse dies. When
That is traumatic.
Right.
The weirdest boner
And
I've ever had.
exactly,
Yeah,
we're all there as little dinky kids, and we're watching in the cinema. And my uncle was like, "I don't think this is good. I think we need to take them out." And Dad was like, "Trust me, because he's seen it before. Trust me, just let it run its course." Ultimately speaking, what you're saying about what Dave Vincent is saying with this point is, do we mind about the fact that it's no. I don't mind, because of the fact that there is always going to be extreme content available. If you want to find horrific horror. It's not like because suddenly now, because they're driving it down because of ratings and they want to secure theatrical release success and everything like that. Fine. It doesn't mean that we're getting lesser films. Because now, post-theatrical release, we have DVD release, which will have the extreme content in it. And furthermore, you can go and find extreme stuff.
Online.
And
I absolutely don't mind. I liked watching Dude, Where's My Car when I was like 12.
fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Secondly, like, I like what you were saying about the idea of if they set out to make a 12 and they go and make
And
one.
see how far they can push.
Somehow
that
I don't
rating.
mind even more when it's like that. But
I think it all comes down to the property. For instance, like if they make a new Punisher film and it's anything less than an 18,
I'll be pissed.
that's completely fucking bunk. completely fucking bunk. But what's really interesting, just a quick thing to tag on to the end here is, we've also now got streaming services, producing stuff that otherwise perhaps may not be produced. And, like, they're going to be less interested in that sort of certification because, like,
because it's available.
It's just going to go onto their service, and people will have a look, or they won't. They don't. They've already paid the money. So
Netflix are now making their own.
Just fucking Daredevil, which is a topic, a conversation for another time.
Daredevil and Orange Is the New Black. Like they do some good fucking shows.
Hannibal, I think, as well.
Do not watch the new fucking series of Arrested Development. It destroys the whole thing.
No.
Which is only on Netflix.
Anyway,
what we're saying is certification is because over time societies.
No, that's
sensitivity has become less sensitive to nasty things, but they're still afraid of the Back to the Future ride. So,
that's a good way to finish it. Yeah, lovely.
Right, from the hot pot, which is our pot.
Andy, what you got for us?
Ladies and gentlemen, can I just say, well done, Dave. Your topic lasted like at least 20 fucking minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting.
A chunk of this podcast, babe.
Not bad for a Florida death metal singer.
Not bad at all.
I thought I'd lost the next topic that I'd already picked out of the pot, because I had to deal with the fact that all the ice we were having in our whiskey was slowly melting in the middle of the table.
Oh, is that what that is?
The puddle was getting closer to your laptop.
I got very scared. There was a big puddle reaching towards my laptop on the mixing desk.
It's down here as well.
It's my own damn fault, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I put some over there for keeping later.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
The new topic, which isn't authored, it times you were a dick as a child. Beth, do you want to start us off?
Yeah. Right. When I was in primary school, I've never...
Listeners, you have no idea how quickly her arm shot up and the look of glee just melted her face. It was wonderful.
Is it your topic?
No.
Oh, fuck.
I don't even know whose writing that is. I think it's Kel's.
I kind of know now.
It does. Look, from my extensive inspection, it is writing.
Right. Basically, I remember...
He looks like Kel's.
I remember a time when I was in primary school, and to see what it was like, just to see what would happen, I put blue tack in my friend's hair, Jason's hair, just to see what happened. And he thought it was funny as well, until he suddenly realised that it was smushing all in his hair and he couldn't get it out, and he had to have it cut out and everything like that. So it was the strange feling of like, oh, this is a good experiment. Bloop, put blue tack in the hair. Then he thought it was funny as well, and I was like, you pranked me, ha, rip it out. And we were all being quiet, listening to the teacher. And I was sitting behind him, and he kept having to look back and go, ha, isn't this funny that I'm still ripping this out? And then every time he looked back, he was like, I'm still ripping this out. Dude, this isn't coming out. And the fear and the peril came into my existence. And I used to go to the same school as my mum worked at the time. And the teacher of the class that I was in also was one of my mum's best friend. And I wasn't scared for my mum finding out, because it was way past that. It was the fact that I was worried about my friend's head by that point. So I was addicted to figure out what the hell that would happen. What would happen if I put blue tack in someone's hair? It happened. It was horrible. I got massively done in.
I suppose when you started this story, I was sort of the opinion that you weren't really being a dick, because if you're being a dick, you mean it. Whereas you were being quite innocent about something.
But I didn't grow out of it.
Then I do think that the term a dick move hasn't been thought out. So I suppose my original thought was
okay. Then are we classifying this as sort of that you've retrospectively identified that you've been a bit of a dick, or is that because
it was purposeful? You mean it was like with
malice aforethought?
Yeah, sort of like you were being a dick without malice, whereas I don't know other acts of being a dick are with malice. But I don't know. If I think back, I did accidentally. Well, I say accidentally. We were playing a game. It was some sort of combination of hopscotch and it on a set of
That sounds amazing.
like
That sounds like Andy.
Yeah.
Like merging games.
And mums and dads.
on some sort of
Doctors and nurses.
Family game of hide the sausage.
set of concrete steps that when
Secrete the chipolata.
other set of concrete steps that went up from the playground to the
Concrete's
school.
never a good idea. Forget it.
Yeah, I was being a dick.
Yeah.
You put your dick in concrete.
I didn't put my dick in
Was here.
My penis is gonna sleep with the fishes.
That shit burns.
What I did was end up pushing a girl down the concrete stairs, and she. there
Oh
was
my
no dick
god.
You're a dick.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know,
Just to see
times
what would
I was a
happen,
dick when
or-
I was a kid. No, we were playing a game. I got a bit I don't know.
Yeah, but she would have scraped all of her skin off. Did you want that to happen?
No, I didn't want it to.
Therefore,
happen.
you weren't being a dick on purpose.
No, but no. My point was that I initially thought your story wasn't you being a dick, but then I changed my mind
Oh, yeah, you're right.
because
I know what you mean.
know, although there is being a dick with malice and being a dick
Yeah.
by accident, both are without thinking.
I've
so
got a
it's still being
version
dick.
of both.
We've also heard your version of pushing someone down the stairs as a child, as one of your first memories.
Yeah. Well,
on a previous Pop Topic podcast
So how? Because you're lame and don't listen
to the podcast.
to the podcast.
Mate, I only listen to myself. The sound of my voice is amazing.
There's a story. It's one of my earliest memories. Is in play school. There was like a little wooden box construction, big box with holes in it that you climb through, and then you've got like slopes and ladders and slides down the side. And one of my first memories is pushing a child down just to see what would happen.
Wow.
And just pushing him backwards down. So, but no,
Isn't that the opening scene to American Psycho?
so the
Taz just has to
I think that's a
return some
biopic.
videotape.
So the two I've got, one where I was actively being a dick, and where another where
Passively.
kind of retrospectively I realised that actually there's a
I love
proper dick
passive
move.
dick.
So like the one in retrospective was I don't know, I must have been in year 2, 3, 4, I don't know, early primaries. And there was a point where I was getting Larry in class, and my teacher at the time, Mrs. Banks, sort of came up and sort of had a go at me. And she did something just like to sort of place her hand firmly on my head to calm me down. But my response
You
to
were
this.
that kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was hyperactive. I was hyperactive as fuck. But
Easy, Tiger.
Have we just learned how to handle Taran?
Yeah.
no. We already know how to handle Taran. Heather perfected this. Moenchi.
Oh, yeah.
There was a time where I was getting properly fucking liquored up, and I wasn't sitting still. So her response, in order to get me to go to sleep, was when we had dinner next door, and I was sort of getting ready to get up and start causing more carnage. She threw herself at me and lay across me and said, "Nope, you're not going anywhere," and just hugged me until I fell asleep.
Nice.
But okay, so in this story where like this
That sounds
teacher,
like a nice way to fall asleep.
That's a fine way
Yeah.
to fall asleep.
I reckon if she repeats that too many times, he'll still get up and cause
No,
carnage.
she
and she'll
has
just get
amazing
hurt.
breasts. I think he's going to be quite
My
distracted.
pudding, yeah, that's a snuggle bunny right there.
Yeah.
To be honest, I can imagine that being prescribed.
guys,
Taran, finish the story.
I'm trying to get some stories out.
Right,
Give me a chance, motherfuckers! Give me a chance.
I'm unplugging everyone's microphones.
Get the tone out.
Okay, so this this time where I was like retrospectively, I was clearly a dick. Like I responded really poorly to being chewed out in. I don't know. That's a weird Americanism to come from nowhere.
Chewed out?
Yeah, like
What
to being told off. Like quite forcefully and quite rightfully
Bollocks
because
is the
yes,
term.
Yeah.
I was bollocks.
Getting a good bollocking.
And the second she placed her hand on my head, I burst into tears and realised that I was making a complete tit of myself.
Wow.
In front of the entire class. Oh, here I am. Who's the Larry boy? And suddenly you started crying. What did I say? I said, "Oh, she hit me." So there was an inquest in which it was.
Oh no, Tara! Are you sure you want to say this on the podcast?
No, like because I've felt bad about this ever since. Like I've even after
So
the fact.
your
Like,
pride made up a lie.
yeah. At the time, like as what, like 7-year-old me. Yeah. Absolutely. It kind of I sort of went into kickstart survival mode. Like how do I get out of this with like my shit intact? And it was to say that she hit me without really realising how serious of an accusation that was.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Well, you're not going to know at that age.
There was a vague kind of primary school-esque inquest that lasted a couple of days, in which it was finally decided that, they kind of took the statements from other, like, kids in the class. What did you see? What happened?
Yeah,
they asked the other kids what happened. They asked the kids, the other kids what happened, and, like, they sort of all confirmed with, Miss Banks's, version of events. But they had to decide, because I cried and said she hit me, like, the final resolution was that as she placed her hand on my head, she kind of hit me so she placed her ring first, which kind of created more of an impact than others. But it was all complete bollocks. So that was me just being an unthinking child dick. Being a thinking child dick came, same school, year 5, maybe year 6, and eventually me and this teacher had a very good conversation. But this year she was the new PE teacher.
Right.
That was the only thing she was there for. She didn't have like a year of her own. She just taught PE. And on her very first day, she went into the sports store, which is kind of backs onto one of the playgrounds.
Big cupboard.
Yeah. Big cupboard, big wooden doors. And like, I saw her go in there. She'd already brought out some hockey equipment. So I closed the doors and I used a hockey stick to bar the handle so she could get out. The second I did it, I fucking legged it down the other end of the playground. But of course, at some point, with enough knocking, some other children came and took the hockey sticks out, and she said, "Who did this?" And fucking right on to her. Like, she came and she found me. It's like, "This was you." It's like, "No, this was you. All the children have said so." Blah, blah. And I just remember her saying to me, "It's like, if you do that again, I will wrap that hockey stick round your head." I was like, "Yeah, fair enough." Like, I know I knew I was doing wrong at the time. And she was in, but like, you know, it ended quite well because I was one of her best cross country runners, and she was happy that like her cross country running program picked up some steam. Yeah.
See, my school did that too. This wasn't like little kid, but this was senior school, and I do remember the German teacher getting locked in the textbook cupboard for some time.
Well, actually, I've got another one that never got found out. It was like my first.
Are you
first
telling
attempt.
secrets to the internet?
This was my first and perhaps only real attempt at hacking. I got left in year 5. I got left alone with the classroom computer.
Yeah, he basically headbutted a laptop.
Did he get into the mainframe?
Neo.
Into the mainframe. But I got left alone with the class computer. Like, they all went to assembly, and I was supposed to finish something up, and then come join them. And I sort of finished what I was doing. It's like, because at this point I was already old enough and experienced enough with computers to know there were administrative accounts. But I didn't know the password. So I thought, well, maybe there's one in the instruction book, and surely, like, this is like the old ass Windows 3.1 machine.
And it wasn't.
No. It was old.
3.1 is well before
3.1 is
No,
when
it's
we were in
mate.
primary
Fuck
school.
off, it's 3.1 before my time.
My first knowledge of computers is 3.1.
Yeah, but that's
before 3.1, not at school.
No, when we were.
No. This was definitely 3.1. It had all the separated windows. Yeah.
Windows.
Okay. But yeah, so I want to get in it because I had the idea of changing the names of the programs. And it wouldn't let me do it. So I thought, well, so I clearly need to be cited as the administrator. And I found like this massive kind of plastic spiral bound instruction manual to Windows 3.1. Had a look through it, and it's like, and here is the unchangeable master password. So I remember it started with the letter J, but it was just a string of numbers. So fantastic. Got in. It's like, I've now got control. What did I do? I just changed all the names of all the programs to stuff like Pooh Bum Willie and Manish is a bum and that sort of stuff.
See, I have a similar one, which is to do with computing class in sixth form.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved to a new school, going to this new sixth form class, and everyone is an absolute dick to this computing teacher. His name was Mr. Juham. I'm sorry. You become a teacher and your name is Joanne.
Mr. Jewham.
Jewham!
Excuse me 1 second, listeners.
We, the best thing our class ever did, apart from liking... We used to destroy this teacher because he was one of those younger teachers, you know, those ones that have just got out of.
They're not that far away from your age.
They never stood a chance.
They never stood a chance. There was this one time we decided to install a Trojan on all of the computers in the.
You bastard!
So that we could actually open all the CD drives on cue from one computer.
Oh,
yeah. At the point where they hadn't saved their work.
Oh, I'm impressed.
He did that at home as well, the opening of the CD drives.
Yeah, that's good.
We used to make it play Jewham as loud as the speakers in the class would go on every computer.
I salute you.
At a whim. Like, it was brilliant. One of the guys, Trepass, brilliant dude, he decided to create a HTML wraparound header so that we could get to any website we wanted to without any net nanny bullshit.
Oh, nice.
Net nanny? I've never heard that phrase before.
We left porn on every single system at one point because we had this Trojan involved, so we just opened up the same website on all.
Is this at Hurstmere?
No, this is at Chisholm.
Oh, the one that had more class on that road.
More class.
What?
So we also it was a massive snow one winter. This is the worst thing we ever did to him. We made a 6 foot by 6 foot snowball and put it behind his car.
That is exactly the right side of being a dick as a child. That is perfect.
He couldn't leave work. A group of year 7s move the snowball.
And I bet that, do you know what? Your teacher comes in and says, I've got a massive snowball, could you move it?
I would.
Exactly.
We shit out of him so much
Whilst
for
laughing.
2 whole years that he said, was it you? And he went, yeah, and what? What are you going to do about it? And he went, alright, it was funny. But you're cunts! To us all. And that was the first time we heard him swear at us. It was when he called us all cunts and we applauded him.
Yeah, you probably don't want to keep the name of your school in there.
We gave him a round of applause because he was an amazing teacher. And he taught me a lot.
That is funny. Funny banter is good.
And he was an amazing teacher and he put up with a lot of shit and he was still our friend at the end of it. So
that is good.
How I'm sure you must have some tales of childhood miscreancy.
Because he's such a massive dickhead now. So.
Oh, you went to a boarding school. There must have been.
Yeah. I do, but what I'm going to do, can I just ask the exact terminology of the question again, if that's all right?
No, we have eaten it.
No, okay, fine. No, fair enough. I think it's when you were a kid, or you were a child. Okay, we've actually lost.
It was the worst time you were a dick as a child.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do have stories, but it's not worth me regaling or boring you with the sort of typified boarding school nonsense and everything like that would come hand in hand with it. What I will instead do is a much more broad term. Is that yes, pretty much not everything, a lot of what I did up to the age of 10. And the reason why is when I was 10 years old, my sister was born. And I ceased being an only child.
Oh,
and the reason why I have, and I'm not doing this out of like, oh yeah, I reckon I was probably a bit of a dick. I discovered, every family has, amazing noise. Every family has family videos and stuff like that. And we rewatched these, I'd say about a year or two ago. And I managed to go through a few different years of looking at them. And yes, completely true to form. From 0 to 10, I was just this precocious arsehole. And that we're... Yes, quite. I brought it down. No. There's a difference precocious and arrogant. You see, right. So the thing is that when my sister was born, there you are. semantics, or the semantics. But yeah, so basically, when my sister was born, she has this opinion that I had no idea that she had, is that apparently you should only really ever have you shouldn't have just one child. You should have 2 children.
Yeah,
and I don't agree, but nevertheless, I have a beautiful goddaughter who I utterly adore. And I'm seeing her grow and develop and mature, and it's amazing. And I've just had my first fully fledged actual conversation with this person, which warped my mind, because it's my best friend and my best friend having a human being together, and I've just talked with it. It is the 50% of two of my Missy.
Oh, okay.
Melissa, and it's just like
Melissa and
I've just had
Alex
a conversation with something that's created by my two friends. That's insane. So did that, but
it's an odd feeling to have a conversation with something that was sperm less than a decade ago.
Well, it's a posh wank. It's amazing. but basically, I said to, you know, my what I regard as my surrogate brother, just being like, this is great that you're having this child, but the next thing I really desperately want to experience is actually a genuine conversation with this person. It will be anyway. So my sister floored me with this particular opinion, going, you should have 2 children because otherwise they're lonely and don't have a friend. Like, well, school, but nevertheless, I went through school up to the age of 10. There is a marked difference of me 10 and then 10 and beyond, because suddenly I became partly responsible for another life at the age of 10.
I think it's different with the age gap between you and your sister being 10 years.
Oh, yeah, I believe so as well.
There is an intense possibility of it. However, I find that I had less of an allowance, let's say almost societal allowance, to be that much of a chronic dickhead. Leading up to 10, I was sort of like, well, I'm this. I emulated a particular person, and then suddenly another person was introduced into my life, which, if you want to figure it this way, it's analogous to life in general. It would appear to be, apparently, and I'm yet to have a child, but it would appear to be in general that when grown adults, have a child, their perspective on everything utterly changes. Yes. And I believe I went through a version of that. So... there you go.
Okay, so Hal, as you have quite so brazenly decided to sidestep the topic, would you care to draw us one from Pol Pot?
It's a fine idea.
Did you have anything to say, Andy?
The only thing I had to say was a little bit off topic, and it was the idea that when I was younger, most of my mates that had older sisters, they seemed to like get along. Whereas
with their sisters?
Yeah. But anyone who had a younger sister absolutely hated them.
Which we've already covered in the topic with me and Tom being siblings.
Threw a guitar and at her.
Well, no, it wasn't. It wasn't just that. It was the fact that
you stepped on her face.
And Madison Square Gardens has never been the same again.
Rock and roll.
It's obviously there's a whole 18 years worth of life in there. It's not just one thing. No. Where we're basically the same person. Except we were
Beth and Tom. Yeah.
So we are living in close quarters for 18 years. It is I think it's very different than how you given more responsibility because you were 10 years apart.
As I said, it was off topic.
Yeah. I'm going off topic. Anyway. I'm sorry.
Anyway.
Community.
Right.
What you got for us, Hal?
We have this one from Big Al.
Big
non-gay Al.
Good to hear from one of the OGs.
Right.
Brop, and all that.
The best stroke worst insult.
I thought it was going to end there.
Darling.
The best stroke.
Darling, you have the vote and you can drive. Let me speak. Big Al, the best stroke worst insult you have ever had thrown at you.
Oh, no, at me. Damn.
At you.
I heard a great one the other day that was, you are a human clip-on tie.
I like that.
Then
thank you, Vinny Carabella from FireBomb.com.
Then may I add to that the best insult I heard recently is you should have been a blowjob.
Oh well, I once had the pleasure of hearing my sister turn around to my nephew and just say, "I should have swallowed you."
That's right. That's what I'm saying. It should have been a blowjob. You're a posh mistake. Yeah. Fair enough. Right. But anyway, I reiterate: the best or worst insult you have ever had thrown at you.
I love throwing around the term "you are human garbage." I absolutely.
But it is somewhat overused, though, is it not?
Oh, definitely. It's still poignant. It's still very much.
I prefer modifying it with the word hot. You're hot human garbage.
You're hot human garbage, yeah.
Well, that's something of a compliment, isn't it?
No, it's not. Because burning garbage smells worse.
Yeah, but I quite like the idea that it's an insinuation that you're slightly attractive whilst being a dick.
I've just got to quickly point out.
I suppose it could be taken either way.
We're all now wearing headphones to do this, so we can all hear ourselves.
Professional.
However, something's already gone wrong with this set of headphones, and I'm only getting it through one ear, and it's making me really dizzy.
It's not the whiskey.
I shall prevail.
It's the It was probably the melting ice, wasn't it?
How? So what was the I choose to interpret that question as best / most cutting insults.
Well, it's the one thrown at you, and basically, I think it should be two topics because most of the things was things you'd heard.
Yeah,
people say I've got a thing that I heard, and then The thing that I heard that was the worst insult that I'd ever heard was, and this was when I was at uni, and we just got to uni. We were living in halls, and we were living in flats of 6 was university halls for me.
Yeah,
and I remember one of my flatmates talking about another one of my flatmates, and she said the words, "I cry every day because her parents had to meet her."
Oh my gosh!
Which is hands down one of the most cutting things I've ever heard.
Oh, that's horrible.
But things thrown at me, nothing's coming to mind in recent years. I remember people shouting odd things at me when I was at school. People used to shout the words, or people used to shout Mach 3 at me. I did have a beard. Yeah, okay. On the same vein, I used to be called Russell Crowe and David Bedingfield.
Oh, Daniel Bedingfield.
Daniel
I've
Bedingfield.
actually just realised that you do look like their love child.
Clearly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
well done.
And apparently I did a 12.
Did a 12? What does that mean?
I did at 12. This was when that was shouted at. It wasn't shouted at me last week.
So pre-pubescent, you actually even still look like the offspring of oh
and he's
God.
Never looked any different.
Really?
No, it's true.
Right, so I'll do best and worst. Worst, it seems like it should be inverted, but worst, which was intended to be best, but I just found it prominent and funny. I was involved in a literally stand-up argument with my English teacher when I was 10 years old. No, 9, I'm sorry. Gilby Mackenzie, who I'm now thankfully friends with. He was an amazing man, but there was a lot of conflict between us, and we don't address it now. In a particular argument about a creative writing piece that I'd written, he had an argument with me, being like, no, this, that, I can't believe you've done this, and he just stood up and said, "You, Sinden, are an insolent toad," which I thought was a great. It was a great turn of phrase. I won't then go say what I called him, but it was on a par. We sparred at each other for a little bit.
Parried.
Yeah, but the best ever, the one that really cut me down. I mean, I've been insulted actually very recently, really badly. And it's actually yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Well, is it? Yeah, someone said at that festival that we did the main stage at. It's like
true.
You're like a You're like a posh Russell Brand. Like,
the thing is, that was meant as a compliment.
It was meant as a compliment. Exactly. It wasn't an insult. No, please, no. Anyway, so the best. So I've been insulted very recently, very effectively, and it's still too raw for me to therefore regard it as best. So I figured that the best I've ever had was it was on Denmark Street, which now is defunct. So that for those who are listening in black and white, it's basically Tin Pan Alley was London's centre for guitars and musicians, and where you go to buy a guitar, sell a guitar, get it fixed.
That's where all our blues bars were as well.
So I went on the wrong bit of Denmark Street, which I've known for many, many years, to get a guitar fixed, and I entered into a massive...
The wrong bit of Denmark Street.
Yeah, the bad.
If you look at someone the wrong way, they will stab you with a headstock.
The bad streets of Denmark Street. So, yeah,
How long is Denmark Street?
Very short. Massively short. Yeah. But believe me, you know when you're on the wrong end. Well, basically the 12-bar club. So
8 shops long.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I thought.
It's just nothing. It's either it starts at Rose Morris and ends in the fact that you give up your dreams as a professional musician. But But anyway, so
used to be Intrepid Fox. Same difference.
yes, exactly. So, same thing. So anyway, I was there. I entered into a massive argument and conflict with someone who had done, well, in my opinion, I persist with this, done something hideously wrong to my guitar and almost broken it, which is a broad term, but he really had. I had this massive argument with this guy, and I will admit that at my tender age of then 16, I tried to defend myself a certain way, and he actually literally did turn round to me because he was just still busying himself on another guitar and just looked. There was a pause, looked at me after hearing what I just said, and went, "Well, that was just fucking silly." and it sounds benign, but that is possibly
it's
one
perfect.
of the most disarming, wonderful moments you can ever say to someone. That was just fucking silly.
Yeah,
Another moment
puts you in your place.
Another moment is when we realise that's all we have to say to Hal to just torment.
Hang on. Right, so the most popular one, forgive me, I'm now giving a third, possibly one of the best ones that seems to be the most popular. I don't regard it as the best, but I do think it's effective, is that a very good friend of mine, Andy,
Hello, Andy.
he and I, part of our Southend crew, we'd had a particularly heavy weekend, and at the end of it, I had been soliloquizing for a very, 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 very long time, and it was something, I think I was going off about how pandas are wankers or something like that. Yeah. Oh no, sorry. No, that was it. I was saying that I wanted basically a Jack Russell that would shit gold, and a goldfish that shat copper because that would sell it on the offside. But I was.
Russell Brand, you're not fielding.
Yeah, so that's such an insult.
Ding, winner.
There you are.
Everything you're going to say now is bunk because you've just had your best
To be
insult.
fair, this is a really good insult.
I had been off, and I hadn't realised that everyone else in the room had realised I'd been at it for like solid soliloquy for like 8 minutes about blah 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 blah, and everyone's like, everyone's wearing, and he had been quiet for about an hour. Until finally he actually turned, sort of wheeled around like that, looked me right in the eyes and went, "Massive wanker!"
So he's got away with words.
I know.
So
it's clearly we like the simple but effective insults.
Well, okay. Let me line some up for you. I've got one that I actually used. I've got one that wasn't technically an insult, but it was, and then one that is just simply the best / worst insult I've ever received. So the best insult I ever used, and I think I scored this off of Victorian Insults, which is a Facebook group. But I've been holding on to it for a long time, and it was one of those things where I asked someone to do something. It was relatively simple, but they were just clearly in a place where they're not bad at their job, they're not stupid.
It's not going to suck itself.
They just clearly hadn't engaged their brain and were just fussing over it. And then I came back 40 minutes later and they still hadn't done this relatively simple thing. And my response was, "Oh, sir, is there no beginning to your talents?" Which
that is good.
I've always quite liked that insult. Now, the next one down is not technically an insult. It is perhaps one of the best descriptions I've ever heard of me. And this comes from my boss and good friend,
Massive wanker!
Gav, head of Pirate Crew. And he sent me, just out of the blue, he sent me a text message once, just saying, "Oh, by the way, like we for our new office girl, like we've been talking about like the lads and whatnot." And she said, "Oh, so what about this Taz bloke?" And Gav basically said, "I'll just describe you as a lovely man who looks like he should smell but doesn't."
Oh, that's wonderful.
Isn't it just? It works.
It's not an insult. It's accurate.
Yeah, exactly. However, the single greatest insult of my life came on Christmas Day. Maybe about a decade ago.
We got a chirp.
Very excited audience member.
By the way, listeners, Daz from the
you know those guys
is in the fucking room, ladies and
who happens to be Taz's cousin, knows the story.
He's like an albino
excited.
Hitler.
So, Taran, continue.
We've got plenty of time to rip Darren to pieces. So,
True.
So yeah, the single greatest insult I ever received was Christmas Day, maybe about a decade ago now, maybe just slightly less. But I was just, it was all very much in fun, but I was giving my mum a lot of shit this particular day. And it got to that point where a little while ago, she had to stop worrying about the cooking and
just enjoy the day.
Yeah, just enjoy the day. And, you know, she was like, lovely drunk mummy.
Your mum's a saint.
She's fucking amazing.
So I don't know what you're going to say.
She really is
She's
like
a saint.
such a glorious person. But
Oh god.
even more so for this. Like I was giving her constant shit, and like she would keep coming back with like weak retorts, and I was constant shit. And at some point, she just turns around to me and says, "Do you know what, dear? The best part of you went running down the inside of my leg."
Oh!
To get that from your own mother is, I'm not mixing my words here, paralysing.
Big Al, you have got your fucking answer. I'm sorry, we cannot beat that.
Fucked me right up.
Holy crap.
Massive props
or rather
to
not.
Mummy Woman.
I know we want to move on. Not as funny as the other stories because they were fucking hilarious. But, in a more moral point, the worst insult I've ever got is actually not that clever or well thought out. It was, one that seems to come up in conversation often because my friends may suffer from the same thing, so I can use it as an anecdote. It didn't affect me as much as it should have, but when I was hunting for a job after leaving university, I left university early, so I didn't get a degree, but I was signed up for all of the not estate agents, employment agents. So I was doing loads and loads of interviews, and there was one particularly posh employment agent, People's, that I went to, and I had a lovely conversation with an extremely snooty person who said that I turned her stomach.
Yeah.
Because of I don't have a lot of piercings or tattoos. I have got silly coloured hair, but I'm not, other than my hair, I'm not actually that alternative looking. I have a nostril piercing, and apparently I turned her stomach and was repulsive, and I would never get a job.
This is in an employment agent's like assessment and interview.
So this was an interview. So you're already kind of on a lower point in your life when you're trying to feel confident with yourself and
Mature
and advertise yourself, which I'm never happy about, when you have to advertise yourself and kind of put down on paper why you're a good person and you should employ me because I'm fucking amazing. You know, it's never been a comfortable thing for me and a lot of other people. So the fact that this person said I was repulsive and turned her stomach was kind of harsh. So I had to travel home alone with that.
And I have raised this with certain employment agents, by the way, knowing the agency that you're talking about, because I recommended them to you and I had no idea that they were going to be like however,
I don't blame you
because I signed myself off immediately, because I just thought that if you're saying that about my wife who only has purple hair, look at me, for heaven's sake, you know, with tons of piercings sort of thing.
Face like a portcullis.
There you are. So,
Penis that sounds like...
Thank you. So I recounted this to another employment... 3 employment agents.
Really?
Yeah. And I even at one point used it in an interview.
Really?
Which I succeeded in, I might just say. But nevertheless, my wife, by the way... but nevertheless, I recounted this to 3 employment agents, and 2 of them wanted the name and agency, moniker... Because I didn't know this, there's a version of an ombudsman scheme for employment agents.
Yeah.
And they were prepared to do this on a visual basis of discrimination, which is obviously against pretty much everything, that they were prepared to take action against that. Yeah. And I figured that, like, I would have done so were it not for the fact that I was warned at a certain company about industrial tribunals that you would become unemployable.
See, I've got to call you up on your usage of that story. Like, it's a good story, and it's not kind of an awful story. It's not fair, but in terms of the topic, I don't believe that can rate as a possible best.
It's the worst.
/ No, yeah, but
What do you mean? So it would be a funny one? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no. The way I read the question is best
Which is exactly why I said you could cut it out.
Like, as in, like, best / most cutting, like the most apt.
So that was one topic, not two topics.
Like,
Excuse me.
like,
It was best stroke worst.
That's quite simply worst.
No, but it's not, because it's really not clever. It's
exactly.
That's why it's the worst.
No, that's why it's the worst. It's worst because it has no redeeming qualities. That's not someone being clever.
Argument, too many people talking at once.
Best / worst is a topic where the winners are insults that the person didn't really care about.
I didn't care about that one, to be fair.
No, but it's a cutting thing.
So have we all answered that one? Or?
We have.
Yeah, I think so.
Point out the fact that Darren's wearing a cowboy hat.
Darren is absolutely wearing a cowboy hat. I was going to point out before I start the next topic.
Can you for our listeners point out without any words how cool it is to feel that you're wearing a cowboy hat and go?
Any microphone, mate. Any microphone.
Great for a podcast.
And then put it in
a hamster.
Yeah.
I wasn't pick. You can always tell a topic that Tom's put in when drunk because it's actually this is going to be a really interesting topic. But like when we pull them out of the pots, they're always little scraps of paper rather than like well torn kind of regimented blocks. But no, I'm really looking forward to this one. Tom asks, favourite books.
Oh, okay, that's not a bad one.
Not a bad one at all.
Dick King Smith, done.
Favourite book? So, honestly, that's...
Yeah. I mean, as my topic, I will start off with...
yours?
Well, it's the one I
Written
pulled.
by me, but picked out by Taz.
So, I'll start off. This is such an expansive topic. I could actually talk for days about my favourite books. But, if I'm gonna, like, if I need to wrap it up, it's probably, that there's purely because of the sheer artistic brilliance in description
and the depth.
And it's just that the way those books work is they somehow manage to convey an entirety of a fully formed, fully functioning world without stopping to tell you too much about it
and not be Tolkien.
And yeah, exactly, basically not being Tolkien. But like when it comes to sheer artistic brilliance, like I don't think you can beat Titus Groan and Name of the Wind. They're both absolutely exquisite. Like they're so easy to read, even when they're difficult to read. They're so easy to read. Like you don't. It's not active participation at that point. It's like watching a film. You sit down, you got the book open in front of you, and the words simply fall into your eyes and just paint the picture perfectly. But when, like, other than that, like, favourite stories from books, Small Gods by Terry Pratchett.
Oh my god.
Is
oh my god, you just
exquisite. Absolutely exquisite.
Small Gods is wonderful.
As a Discworld book.
Which is the gaming one? Is that not Small God?
American Gods.
Sorry.
American Gods.
American Gods is one of the best books of all time, and you're all wrong if you disagree.
No.
Hang on, it's Taz describing why.
Yeah, so like Small Gods is this perfection of story and concept. Like the story feeds into the concept as much as the concept feeds into the story, and I don't know. I mean, considering the fact that it is, in fact, very much a comedic satire, fantasy novel, it also works as a really cutting polemic against religion.
Yeah.
And it is, at times, savage, and at times wonderful, and at times beautiful, and it's so wonderfully crafted.
It's an amazing book.
It's phenomenally popular, if I'm right in thinking that.
Small Gods isn't one of the bigger ones. It's kind
like
of
Morton.
Well, then,
of Magic and stuff
then maybe it just seems to be that so many people that I know reference it. So forgive me for the gaming inaccuracy, but it seems to be so many friends that I know reference Small Gods as being I mean,
Seminal.
yes, seminal. But I mean, posthumous appreciation, because obviously we've now lost Pratchett. There now means that weirdly we can appreciate his canon and sort of look at the oeuvre that's available and say which is best or worst.
I think the following he had while he was alive.
Yes, entirely. Yeah, it wasn't to say he was unsuccessful.
The thing with the Discworld series is that there are other books that are always going to take take the spots above Small Gods. Right, so Small Gods as a piece of art is fucking phenomenal.
And can't forget Pyramids.
Pyramids also wonderful. That
again, a biting satire on religion.
No, that's not so much religion as it is kind of the weight of ancestry, the weight of tradition.
Yes.
Fair enough, and he does something very interesting with the concept of 4-dimensional space in that, which is glorious. But no, the ones that are always going to take the bill with Pratchett are going to be the Night Watch, because it's quite simply the best story he ever wrote, and it's so wonderfully told. But you're also going to have, from the Witches, maybe Weird Sisters.
Weird Sisters is amazing.
And then, as you mentioned, Tom, Morts. But, like, Small Gods is crushingly perfect.
Didn't you also play Mort?
Yeah.
No, I did play Mort, yes.
We saw him live playing
Oh,
Mort.
did you come to see me?
Yeah.
I didn't.
You did. You came with me.
Darren came as well. Yeah. No, I played Mort in an amateur production of Mort, and
listeners, that's Death's Apprentice.
Yes, yeah. I now quite often work with one of the dudes who was also in that show. He played Cutwell, the Wizards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like we tend to work together quite a lot. So, but please, other people sort of pass on, because like this is all about perspective to a certain point.
Right. So I think for me, reading enjoyment is my key factor in reading books.
That makes sense.
So first up, I'm going to go for the fluff side. I'm going to go with Warhammer 40k book.
Yeah.
Is it Angels of Darkness or?
Oh, yeah.
It was. No,
is that the interrogation one?
It's the interrogation.
Do you mean
book.
Deathwing? Is that the one?
It's by Dan Abnett, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that the one where the Dark Angels arrive on a certain planet to find their home planet has been?
No. It's one that starts with a Dark Angel being interrogated by the Imperium.
By the Imperium.
It's a very, very dark book. It's a very dark book, and it's basically a torture.
I still need to read that
over like 24 chapters.
Oh,
it's horrific. And
do you still have it?
Amazing. Yes, I've got it. You can borrow it.
Can I?
Yeah, of course.
Can you hear me, heretic? I am Inquisitor Fluffy Pants Naughty Bottom, talking to you from beyond the void. It appears that fools on PTP Podcast cannot get a book name nor author correct. Especially that Tom. He may be sexy, but he is dumb. The book is actually Gav Thorpe's Angels of Darkness. Give it a read. You'll learn something about the way of the Inquisition. Burn a heretic for the Emperor.
Also, I have to say, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
I still haven't read that.
It really opened my eyes to the idea that it was seeing the film first. So it was seeing Blade Runner first and seeing how they interpreted that world.
You saw that first?
Yeah,
that must have been older than... Yeah, because you read the book very young.
I did. I was probably early teens when I read that book.
So you may have seen it before it was allowed to be seen.
No, darling. Blade Runner was...
It wasn't a PG,
yeah, but
surely.
I was young to watch Blade Runner.
Oh, I see. When you would have...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, of course, yes. Okay.
Because you read that book. And I was so enamoured by the fact that you had, this Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. I felt like a big kind of this must be a classic, because they've just made a movie about this.
A lot of classic sci-fi that...
A lot of things are based on, or?
Oh, God, yeah. Sorry, go on.
Philip K. Dick also did a lot of work that is basically a handbook to understanding insanity.
And
Really?
Valis, for instance.
And to be honest,
Fuck.
Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is just a personal telling of this person's moral quandaries between going out and killing things whilst putting up pretenses, keeping up with the Joneses of keeping this android sheep as his pet. And it's ridiculously twisted and beautiful, that book. Another one is June.
I still need to read June.
Is it just one book, by the way?
No, what, June?
It's a
There's
series,
many,
is it not?
yeah.
There's many, 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 many in the mythos.
Right.
I know June as being like this tome that I clobbered. like,
Yeah, I need to read it. It was what's
But
his
do you
name?
mean as in
Herbert? Is his name?
Frank Herbert?
Frank Herbert. Yeah.
it basically.
Are you meaning the entire thing, or the?
I don't know how I read it. I read it as a collected work, so I'm not sure how much that tells over into other books. But the story where it goes from austerity of this person who's born into this wealthy, well-to-do family, landed on this spice planet, and then ends up almost becoming one of
the Messiah.
Yeah. And then still having this psychotropic, like drug-like stance of the other half of the book, where he's exploring his own humanity.
So, if you had to choose one particular thing from the saga, which I believe is the Herbert sort of saga of that, because I mean, you have the book where there's quite, if I understand correctly, you have a fair bit of history, but then you also have the sort of bit where he becomes Kwisatz Haderach and self-realizes. If you were to choose a particular bit,
it's probably that moment actually
when he becomes Kwisatz Haderach.
It's completely. It's Neo in the Matrix. It's almost
predated to.
It's just like
one of the issues I've always had with the Dune series at large is the fact that it's another one of these stories that is basically the colonial fantasy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And it's basically the same story as Avatar or Dances with Wolves or no, not Last.
You turn up as an alien and become more important than any of them.
Yeah, exactly. But I do want to read them.
And one final book that I'm going to add to this that has not been published, released, or anything is The Gods Among Us. Or God, I can't remember.
Oh, The Gods Watch Over.
Gods Watch Over.
Oh, mate, you need to reread
Taran
that.
wrote this novel, and it was the most enjoyable read.
Hey.
It was. Fucking hell. The main character, what's his name?
Blake.
I identified so much with Blake. It was unbelievable.
It's quite telling because he's a complete dick.
He's basically a man that's come from our world into this fantasy realm, and it's just. He's an absolute arsehole, bastard, and a cunt. And I fucking loved him. And talking to Taran about this whole book, it's like, you're the first person that said to me, your favourite character is Blake. Like...
May I
Sorry?
actually...
You said to me, like, you're the first person that's ever said...
The Blake's the favourite.
Oh, right. Is it? Yeah, absolutely. Like, he's not an easily likeable character.
Das has...
I've just got to chip in here because
with your cowboy
hat. Thank you. Welcome.
Shit questions.
Thank you, brother.
Shit question,
welcome, brother.
entrepreneur.
Shit questions. What would you like to ask?
It's not asking anything. I would like to point out to the listeners that as the person within this room at the current moment, I am probably the least read out of the majority of our friends. Reading for me
Andy.
was okay, possibly Andy, but for me personally, reading was a lost art. When I was younger, I loved silly books like Goosebumps, those sort of series. The Famous Five, things like that. But I fell out of the love of reading through just being lazy, lackadaisical, whatever. And a dickhead. I'm well aware of that. I'm very much well aware of that, and I regret it because it's something that I think everyone can experience.
Darren, I've got a feeling this isn't going to be the first time the listeners hear this on this podcast, but please get to the point.
Get to the point.
Skip to the end.
Given the fact that I am one of the least read people that I consider in this group of friends, the last book that I devoted myself to reading and enjoying was your book. And although my one flaw being that generally when I'd put it down for a night, the next night when I'd go back to it, I'd have to go back a few pages to refresh my memory. I never found it a chore to fall back in love with that book every time I picked it up. And this might be biased because you're my brother / cousin, whatever. The fact is, Tom's hit the nail on the head. Blake, for me, actually, Kellen a little bit more.
Kellen is the likeable character.
Yeah, but, you know, either way, he's hit the nail on the head. Both of those characters in your book, fuck me. Like, yeah, all right, I'll have some more of that.
No frame of reference to this.
No, they don't. I promise. I'm still working. I'm still working to get this out. I will get it out at some point. Beth,
you two.
We've already touched on American Gods. It is one of the best books ever written.
Shadow.
See, I need to reread that book because, like, I did read it, and I just remember thinking of it as, oh, this is a pretty good book.
Really?
Beautiful.
I hadn't actually read any Neil Gaiman. He's a friend of a friend, and I hadn't read any Neil Gaiman, and I'd heard so much, like, so many of my friends adore his work. I thought, he must be good. So I'll try American Gods, not thinking this is one of his most popular books. Yeah. It's had multiple releases, but multiple publications of like the 20th anniversary and all this kind of crap. And it really is, it stands out. You have a personal connection with this book, and you hate the fact that if you finish it, you're not reading it anymore and you're not with the characters. In the same way, Poppy Z. Bright, I don't like the idea. I don't like being labelled as too goth or goth is fine, but Poppy Z. Bright did in her youth a lot of books where a lot of vampires and death and murder and stuff that's macabre. Should we sort that out for a bit?
No, it's fine.
Okay. The macabre and the supernatural was involved in her work. And I thought, well, this isn't going to be for me. I don't want to be labelled with that. It's too easy to be labelled with that. But Poppy Z. Bright's books are amazing. And thank you, Hal, for introducing me to Lost Souls, Drawing Blood, and Exquisite Corpse. Drawing Blood, I think, is my favourite. They are absolutely amazing. Actually, a couple of my friends have said they're cyberpunk. So if anyone is interested in that kind of thing,
okay.
Hello. Yeah, that's me. I'm interested.
Yeah.
I wouldn't agree, but okay.
There's a hacker as one of the love interests. So it's a lot of kind of old school computing thing going on, cyberpunk stuff.
Definitely.
Alongside an artistic venture of someone who literally sketches everything they see and all of their memories. So you've got these two intertwining this relationship that happens between a completely cyber modern person and a completely like sketchy person.
Oh, I'm interested in this.
It's really, really nice.
You need to read Drawing Blood.
Yeah. Drawing Blood, I think, is my favourite. Yeah. Another one is I'm going to put these together. Sarah Kane, 4.48 Psychosis, is a book that was written. It's called 4.48 Psychosis because factually that was when it was written. She died in 1999. When it was written, that was the statistically the time in which people committed suicide the most. So you're in for a heavy read. Basically, 4.48 Psychosis. Yeah. And drama students love to interpret it and put it on. It's basically a place. It's a, what do you call it? A play? It's a play. Yeah. It's a play. So there's a lot of drama students that try and do it, and they're also arty and but really, if you actually read it, it's like Fight Club, which is another one of my favourites. I'm putting them as a pair, where Fight Club, 4.48 Psychosis, they're both books that last for about 20 pages. They're both very, very short. Yeah. Chuck Palahniuk, is that how you pronounce it? Palahniuk is Fight Club. 4.48 Psychosis is Sarah Kane. They are books that are written in complete mind train of thought, basically, and they're writing wherever the fuck they like on the page because they're mental. And that sounds pretentious, but it's actually really interesting. It makes
case of the Dead Dog Midnight.
I really want to try that.
Yeah.
I really want to read that. That sounds amazing.
Where it's written from the point of view of someone who suffers from autism.
Yeah.
So it's...
Oh, it's first person from autism.
Well, I like your cadence on,
Is it
on
actually
the word
written
autism.
by someone?
My mum has loved that book for
Autism.
years.
Passed the book to me and said, "You need to fucking read this." That is the first time she said that to me.
Yeah, it sounds
So-
amazing. I want to
Is
give
it
that
actually
a go.
written by someone with autism?
Yes.
No.
It actually genuinely
no,
is.
No, it's not.
I thought the author did.
I don't believe so.
Was autistic.
Okay, well, there's clearly some research at some point, but
the first person view is someone who suffers from autism, and it's just the fact that he'll go from day-to-day life experiences to completely outside of that, where he's talking about seeing patterns and seeing rhythms and seeing shapes and seeing all this kind of stuff. And it'll be like a chapter where they'll follow the story of, it's basically the story of a divorce over the entire thing between his parents and him not fully understanding.
Heavy.
While there's also a sort of murder mystery aspect going on, where there's a dead dog that appears in his neighbour's garden. It's the neighbour's dog dead with a fork through it, and everyone thinks it's him, and he's trying to
solve
the murder mystery, whilst also being thrown into his own headspace where he can't deal with emotion, can't deal with being touched. And it's just...
That sounds amazing. And now
amazing.
it's a play.
And I really want to see that play.
Yeah, we'll go.
Because apparently...
I'd quite like to see it as well.
do this.
They transposed that from the written word to a show.
Apparently it happens in the doctor's
and
then
room.
also not to mention the dress circle.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
As in when it fell down.
Fell down.
Just awful. My father was interviewed in a very peculiar way about the fact that the destruction
really.
of it. How that must have. Sorry, there is a theatricalized version of the curious.
The case of the curious.
Curious
dog in the night.
of the dog in the night.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
And there's a fantastic stage version of it that has done exceptionally well. Been nominated, and I think nominated for many awards. Won, I think, one or two. Where unfortunately they're at the Old Witch, or in a theatre near the Old Witch. That
Theatreland of London.
they're basically extremely regrettably the dress circle fell in on the stalls.
It was the Apollo.
Thank you, the Apollo. Thank you very much.
And it's moved to the Gilgood.
And there was is it moved to the Gilgood?
Yeah, just across the road. Of course it has.
But that wasn't done.
No.
Anyway.
Oh, anyway, sorry, okay. And very regrettably, obviously, parts of the dress circle actually fell into the stalls. There were no deaths, but there was severe injury, as one might expect. And this, actually, funny enough, culturally has been one of the things that has made a bunch of people on the sort of elfin safety brigade, just saying like, our central London's theatres.
Their hard hats. The elfin safety.
Is it, are London's theatres safe and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. Andy, your favourite?
Just before Andy gets a word in edgeways.
What was the latest magazine that you read, Andy?
Just to say, Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, we've mentioned them both this evening. Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman wrote a book together.
Good Omens.
Called Good Omens.
I don't like that book.
Tom, how can you not like that book? I'm sorry, it is perfect. I didn't read it. I heard an audio version.
Sorry, I just remembered a book I really love.
Oh, too late now.
The audio version that you can get from Audible with some guy who's a northern guy who does all of the different voices. He's amazing. The book's amazing. Good Omens. Neil Pratchett,
I need to get
Neil
on
Gaiman.
that in some fashion. Tom, very quickly before Andy goes,
30
what's the
seconds.
book you remembered?
Hollow Chocolate Bunnies of the Apocalypse by Robert Rankin.
All right, okay, fair enough. I prefer the Brightonomicon, but yeah. Robert Rankin is well worth.
My favourite author. He's amazing. He's so good. The book is basically a noir detective story where it's based in Toyland. Someone is going around and murdering Humpty Dumpty and murdering Bo Peep and murdering all these people.
Yeah. So they can bring them all together.
And it's a noir detective story based in that world. And the calling card of the murderer is a hollow chocolate bunny. It's an amazing book. Oh my god! And the follow-up, The Toyminator, is fucking incredible, but not as good as Hollow Chocolate Bunny.
Just listeners, do check out some Robert Rankin.
Robert Rankin is a phenomenal.
You can go with Hollow Chocolate Bunny into the Apocalypse. You can go with the Brighton Omicron, but you can't go wrong with anything of the 5-part trilogy of the Brentford Triangle.
Oh, it's incredible.
Andy,
what have you read?
Is it possible to still get clarification on the question, or have we lost it?
favourite books.
Yeah, but was that the wording of the question?
The actual wording of the question, if you want to be finickety, is favourite books.
Good. Because I can probably answer that question. Well, actually, I don't think I can. Because you've all answered this question, favourite books, because you read books. So you've answered it from the perspective of best book I've read.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm not quite sure I can tell you what my favourite book is. I don't read books. Reading has always really been a chore for me, but it mostly tends to be a chore when it's a story.
What, you'd rather have factual?
Yeah.
Factual didactics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I know what to bring you home.
Yeah, for books to read, I'd rather be reading, and I know you do learn things from stories. Absolutely, I'm not saying that you don't.
No, you learn a lot more from factual.
Give me something a bit more technical.
Yeah.
And it's not a chore to read. Give me a story. I don't finish even stories I like. And books that I start that I really enjoy, I don't finish them. Most of the time.
Which is a shame, because this isn't like one of my upper tier. This isn't like one of my god tier. But this is one of my high tier books. Is the one I borrowed from you recently, Incompetence.
Yes, I haven't got to the end of that.
Fucking good book.
That's books I've partly read. That's well up there.
There's a point in that story where the author spends the entirety of 2 chapters setting up one of the best jokes I've ever read. Fucking incredible.
I will definitely try again. I've got about 6 or 7 books that I will try to read periodically, and quite often don't quite make it through. Books that I've actually finished.
Answering the topic.
Well, see, this is the thing. Like, my favourite book, because I've read so little of books, my favourite book is probably one that a movie is based on.
That's fair enough.
But then I can't...
Tremors 4!
Exactly. How many movies have I watched where I don't know whether it started as a book or not?
Sharknado. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
I know it was upon these hoary shores that we met with the tornado, the gusty winds, the utter squall of teeth, the teeth that descended upon us, that descended upon all Los Angeles and tore us to shreds. Yeah, it's going to be a good novelization.
Wicked.
5 minutes until we hit the 2-hour mark, yes.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is going to be my favourite book.
There we go.
It's a book I finished as well.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, the first one.
Hitchhikers, it is in fact the entirety of the Hitchhiker sequence series that kind of has a god level.
Yeah.
In my sort of my reading history, they're always wonderful to read.
I think I've got to like 2.5 in the trilogy of 5.
I think that's fair enough.
Can I?
Yeah. How? Go.
So I didn't realise that you could include plays in this, so I'm not going to include the plays that are my favourites. It's literary pieces such as books, and the classical pieces that really, really, honestly, genuinely moved me at quite an early age were Homer's The Iliad and the Odyssey, so that's a kind of double hit. And
old school motherfucker.
Then,
he said classics.
It was, okay, well hang on, everyone's had a chance to explain. Sorry. It was that I had this huge book that was honestly 2 foot lengthwise, a foot wide, that was just, it was all these amazing pictures. I don't know, I should find out who actually did all the diagrams and everything like that, but it was the perfect combination of exactly what you would give to a 6-year-old child to make them employ wonder.
Yeah.
And the text was exceptional, and then when I discovered that Homer actually, funny enough, didn't exist, I was genuinely mortified. But it is the most astonishing story, the Iliad and the Odyssey in one book, and it's incredible. I would say close second to that would be Machiavelli's The Prince.
I really, really need to read that book.
You need to read that book.
I've been meaning to read that for a very long time.
I have had that open continually for me as, I'm sorry to say, a sort of reference piece, because it is next to Sun Tzu's Art of War, it is possibly one of the greatest tomes of, I don't know, self-empowerment or sort of how to exist successfully, in some ways, without altruism at all. It's more that it's totally self-serving. In any case, if I say a contemporary basis in this sort of schlock thing, much as Beth had mentioned, is that, funny enough, I believe that your favourite book, and I will hark back to the era where you owned physically the book that mattered the most, be it a comic, magazine, or anything, the book that mattered the most to you is the one that's the most weathered on your shelf.
I'm with you, Sonic.
Is that right? But nevertheless, it's the most weathered and creased book on, be it a paperback or anything like that. So therefore, other than the original Iliad and Odyssey that I had, the most creased and lent out and then returned book when I was 13 years old, by an upper sixth former at Mill Hill at my boarding school, who said, well, you've read Dracula, as I suggested you would, and my father gave me a good copy of it with footnotes. Then it's like, oh, you've done that now read Anne Rice. And I read Anne Rice and found it, it's like a eunuch trying to write pornography. Then next to that,
it's like S&M saccharin.
It's
like 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay, so then he said that James said that, like, okay, you've read Anne Rice, now try this, and he presented Lost Souls by Poppy Said Bright, and I will, for more ways than I'm prepared to go onto on mic, it changed my life. It is. In retrospect, I will look back, and even she herself, or rather he now, Poppy Said Bright, or Dr. Bright as I should now say,
that was the most convoluted sentence I've ever heard. Yeah.
She's had a sex change.
And
her husband is fine about it, but anyway, nevertheless, she hates it. She utterly hates it. She regards it as schlock, dreadful gothic.
And I think that's an insult to her fan base, who we are.
Yes, quite. However, in retrospect, I will look back at it and go, yes, I am aware that maybe when I read it at the age of 13, it was immensely appealing. So now at the age of 35, I reread it. I do often, going, could have been hidden, it could have been better. But having a profound effect, it's like, the film that you watched when you were 8 that had that, be it Never-Ending Story or Labyrinth, whatever, that you go, like, oh, it's so amazing. That matters. Mm-hmm. So which is why I separate, as I say, Homer's Iliad and the Odyssey and the one major one that I will therefore say as the suffix to all this, if I'm going to choose my favourite piece of literary work ever, the one that affected me the most and is also my favourite, and I do think that is a difference between the two, is Paradise Lost by Milton.
Okay.
The annoying thing about Milton is that I am completely, actually hopelessly, completely incapable of reading poetry. But I've always, I could read it. The words will go in. The words will go in, but They're just words, because it's not like.
Does that include Childe Harold and everything like that, or
just poetry, mate? Just poetry.
But one can read, and as I have done, the reason I include. I mean, I was wondering if someone would pick me up on the semantic issue here, because technically it's not a book. Paradise Lost is a poem.
Yeah.
Right, and I wondered whether someone would pick the Childe Harold is technically a poem.
Unfortunately, I don't know Childe Harold. Oh, okay, fine.
It's the piece that made him.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've been boring enough to already.
Sorry. Okay.
Right. Okay. So I've got 3 very quick points to make. The only exclusion the only exclusion to that poetry rule is I have managed to read some Shakespeare, and I do like Shakespeare.
12th Night.
12th Night. Fuck me. The clown character, amazing. Also, it doesn't quite make the list as best reads, but it's well worth mentioning. Charles Stross's The Laundry series.
Well, then in that case, Matameo and Redwall.
A good.
Redwall. Fucking hell.
I never got on board with Redwall. I was all about the Deptford Mice by Robin Jarvis.
Squirrels are apparently hench.
But yeah, please.
I ain't got shit on squirrels, mate.
Listeners, please
give it a go.
Taryn.
I take that.
Listeners, please, give Charles Stross a go, particularly the Laundry series, because he's created an entirely new genre of, it's Lovecraftian spy horror set within the framework of a British bureaucracy. It's fucking incredible.
It's Cthulhu mythos plus paperwork in the modern day.
And that follows on from that naturally is H.P. Lovecraft. I had for the very first time, very recently, I picked up, I've only been reading Lovecraft for a few years. Like less than a decade.
Really?
Less than most of my favourite authors. Yeah, absolutely. But I recently picked up, Call of Cthulhu and Other Weird Tales, which is a Penguin publication.
That's the first book of Lovecraft I actually got.
Same here. I picked it up for the first time. This was the first bit of like true Lovecraft I picked up in a long while, and in reading it, I realised it's done so well that I kind of read it in the same way that I read Terry Pratchett,
even despite his politics.
Like, I know it so well, and it's so comfortable to read.
Yeah.
It's beyond joy. It's like sitting down in your favourite chair and wrapping a cold, dark blanket of endless chaotic space around you. It's glorious.
Are you affected by his politics?
No.
Well,
no.
In that same point, I would have not.
How we can deal with the finer points of Lovecraft at another point. I guarantee you it will come up.
Yeah.
Tom, let's have our last topic from Pol Pot.
And I'm going to let Darren from our community pick one out of his own community pot. This is like getting well shit and meta right now. I've been juggling these for 5 seconds, so these are voluntary shuffles. What have we got, Darren?
Do you wanna?
Our topic is
It's one of yours.
from me. From me.
Darren, that could have been scripted.
I'm here for, given that over the last year we've lost a lot of
Get
these things.
to the fucking point.
Pull it out. Come on.
What on you've written this weird. What or how many species of animal do you think we will see come to extinction in our lifetime?
Darren, hang fire, stay by the microphone. I want to ask you, is this one of the topics you use Google, Yahoo to get?
Yes.
Like, he's clearly been listening to the podcast, and like, we've been ripping on Darren for a very long time for his shit questions, and he recently revealed to me, he's like, well, do you know what? I finally fucking went and did you good. I've got some good topics. So, well, how did you do that, Darren? I went to Yahoo and asked for some good topics. Is this one of those, Darren?
This is not one of those, actually.
Ladies and gentlemen, please go and listen to My Brother and Me, where that's their entire premise.
Do you reckon that the orange Essex girls are going to go extinct in our lifetime?
Thank you. It's the
of
which of the cultural groups, as in Kardashians, Essex girls, Geordies, or otherwise, will be most extinct very quickly?
No, because they've got the most power and money. They're going to survive.
Rothschild, motherfucker.
Yeah, unfortunately, they've got this horrible thing. They've got this horrible thing called
Trump is running
funding.
for president next year. Trump is running for president. That means that
Hasn't he done that for the last, 4 sessions?
No,
Yeah,
it's
and-
actually his first.
Oh, really?
Beth, I forgot about this, and you raised a very good point, and please excuse me. Carry on.
You're going to laugh.
I was about to say that you were doing really well at keeping this light-hearted, but Taryn's helped you out.
So 3, 2, 1.
Trump for president! I've never had a single successful business! I'm actually running a country!
Trump's toupee says no!
Ladies and gentlemen, host number 2.
Oh, I see.
Trump drop.
Oh, I see. It's graded now, is it?
He's taking it beyond the microphone. He's now moving into the next room to make jokes.
Okay, hang on a minute. I'll go 2 rooms down.
Oh, shit.
Cool, that gives us a chance to finish this topic early.
Shut the door. Right, that's a podcast without Hal for the rest of the podcast. Right.
Wait, let's see what he does.
I can't work the door!
Luke. That's got to be a blooper, right?
So, I don't think it's going to happen within our lifetime, but a species I would certainly like to see extinct is the species of male that believes that the friend zone is a thing.
Oh, thank you very much. Aren't you annoyed by that shit that goes up on Facebook every fucking day?
Yeah, Darren, I will air high five you over the table for that. Thank you. Slap. Lovely. So like I've heard a lot of things. Like I've heard a lot of rebuttals against the friend zone and whatnot. And ultimately, like when I look at it, it's and like
fucked a lot of your friends.
I think that this group of friends, our group of friends,
I fucked a lot of their friends.
Exactly. Therefore, the friend zone is a little bit irrelevant to us. But I don't believe that it doesn't exist out there in other.
No. Here's the thing.
Brothers. That's all I'm saying.
Here's the thing. Like the friend zone is a title for a complete cognitive fuck up. The way I say it, like every chap in here will probably admit to having at some point a very serious guy crush. Like you met a dude, it was really cool. This was like, and like you spent a lot of time with them really quickly, very soon on. I know girl crushes. I'm being stroked by both Tom and Hal right now.
Roped right now.
It's getting personal. It's getting very intimate.
God, we need a webcam. We can make a lot.
I got cock.
Particularly guys. Particularly with guys, the friend zone comes about from like everyone has the capacity to love people really hard, and occasionally and the term is guy love, where a dude meets a dude and they super get on and they have a really good time.
I don't believe that you're talking about the friend zone.
Allow me.
That's not the friend zone.
You're not allowing me to finish my statement.
It's an analogy for the unrequited love prospect.
You're still not allowing me to finish my statement.
Your mum's not allowing you to finish the point.
We're making a fake radio show. Go on.
So, with guy love, like the ferocity of that love, like how hard it can come on and how hard it will roll, and like
hard.
We've all known people who've been in those guy love relationships. I think that's exactly the same sort of thing that leads to the friend zone. Like a dude meets a girl and like they do kind of crush on them in this weird way, but it's basically like super friendship. And
yes, I will fuck you.
Well, no, because that's not the friend zone.
Thanks.
I think basically the friend zone is just a complete misdirection and complete, like, non-understanding of the relationship that's happening between two people.
Yeah, but
you look pretty when you do that.
That is the case, but you're misunderstanding I think the idea of the friend zone. The friend zone is that are you going to sit here and like put out a defence against the friend
wish
zone?
you'd put out.
Please go ahead.
No, but you're saying like the friend zone is just the mere idea of misunderstanding the relationship that's going on. But the friend zone is when you're actively pursuing someone. You want to be in a relationship with them, and you get stuck one hurdle before that. That's being caught in the friend zone. That's the definition of the friend zone.
When you're trying to get close to someone and they go, "Oh, you're like my brother," because you got so close, it's too far.
But you want more. Whereas
that doesn't mean it's any less bullshit. Like, because the thing is, like, whatever's happening, you've still managed to engage in quite like a personal relationship, intimate relationship with this person. The important thing is you should focus on the relationship for what it is rather than what you would prefer it to be.
So let's actually... we've taken a massive tangent from the very start of the topic, so can we just...
I made a tangent!
Go back to the topic.
Yes, okay.
Can I call it a digression?
Call it a digression. Call that man a digression.
Call that you there, you sir, are a digression.
What was the topic again?
Your mum.
Species you expect to die within your lifetime.
There we go. So that's yours.
I honestly hope that dies because it's just... It's not a fair state of affairs to anyone involved. It's a complete misinterpretation of a relationship that's going on.
Taz, it's not a species.
It is a species of man. But anyway, carry on.
It's a social persuasion.
Of man.
No, you're right. I was rather stretching the subject.
Oh my god!
Do you know what? We're supposed to keep this light and short.
I'm sorry. I've just been handed the actual topic.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with that.
It's nothing to do with that.
No, it's the biggest tangent we've ever been on.
Holy crap, Taz!
Excuse me?
It's the biggest tangent we've ever been on.
That is. I'm so
Guys, can we
confused.
stop talking about the tangent and actually get back to the topic? Because we're at 2
What
hours and 12
species?
minutes now.
What species?
Well, I gave you a species. I said the orange women of Essex, like the so utterly suntanned that they're bright orange. That is the species of human that I would like to die out within our.
How about they're really nice? They just like to present themselves that way. A little bit like the fact that I present myself a little bit goth, which is repulsive to some people.
Yeah, but there's going to be people out there that would pick you as a species that they'd wish to die out.
Yeah, I'd rather they
That clearly
didn't.
had no
Sorry.
effect on
Yeah,
you,
but
Beth.
you can't
They'd
be
go
loved by everyone.
Guys,
wish.
I'm so. Do you mean? Can you repeat the question again?
Species.
A species you expect to die within your lifetime.
Okay. Yeah. Can you,
How many species do you reckon are going to die? But
Darren.
we were going to do it lightheartedly.
darling? Can you?
What something that isn't a word? How
Or
many?
how?
What or how?
Bloody hell. Sorry, listeners, I've just got to chime in here to refresh people's memories.
Oh, yeah.
What or how many species of animal do you think we will see come to extinction within our lifetime?
Can I answer that?
I
Of
fully
course.
expect the greater
How?
wankered leather cowboy hat wearer to die out within
Excellent,
our time.
Taz.
lifetime.
I'm glad you had that
Can I
punch
answer
at
that?
me. How? Go for it.
Honeybees.
Oh, unfortunately, that might actually occur.
Yes.
I don't think it will. There's a massive push.
There is a very successful push for honeybees
what's
in this
their name?
country.
Is it Hymenopterist or is it I can't remember the term for bees.
I'm
But
actually
there's
going-
a massive push for like making sure they don't die out.
Yes, and I'm aware of that, but the fact is, Hal's actually just answered my question, because the reason why I
In your
posed this
lifetime.
was because for the past year, if not possibly more, all I've been aware of is the fact that people are talking about is the fact that when the bees die out,
Like we got multiple universities with drone pollinators.
A more salient point that I think everyone is missing, wearing headphones, apart from the guy wearing a cowboy hat, is that Daz asked a shit question,
fuck off, that's a good one.
and we need to move on
To the end of the show.
to the end of the show. So, we're not going to fucking answer it. There we go.
Oh, that's a shame. Okay, let me
However, everyone go and buy a
didn't
beekeeping
ask
kit.
the
You don't have to be, even if you're
We're not
close.
going to run out of bees. We don't run out of anything that people keep as pets. People keep bees as pets.
Do you know what else is
We've
going to
lost
run
the
out?
black
Do you know,
rhino.
darling? Do you know
Yeah,
what
they
else?
don't keep fucking black rhinos as pets. Who keeps black rhinos as pets?
The question was never what pets do we think we
Animals. Pets are animals.
Do you know what else is going to run out? Do you know what else is going to run out?
Thomas's patience.
Your mum.
Your mum.
Oh, your absolute unabridged,
Can we
unequivocal mum.
please pull out a topic that is actually comedy to end?
No, we're done. We're done, Dodin.
What?
We're at the end of the 2 hours.
No, can we pull out a comedy
I
topic?
am doing the two absolute of wrap the fuck up.
And we are ignoring you.
Tom Ryan. Whilst you're doing this, Taz and I are going to sing the well-known tune from Sound of Music, The Hills Are Alive, using only the lyric bois.
Cool.
Okay, so...
A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm desperately trying to sing Spock's beard. I've clearly forgotten it.
How have you...
Dude,
The Hills Are Alive.
Yeah, move away from the mic.
Please share and tell. This has been a shit Our website Oh, Jesus Christ. Sign up to our newsletter.
I will read them and I will judge you and love you or judge you.
Your mum's on cannabis.
The remix spell.
Like the video on YouTube. Fuck the rest of you. Fuck off. Right, that's it. Sorry, everyone. I've no idea what can say good for
Hot topic recommendation.
This podcast is sponsored by Audible.
The music used in this episode was Meatball Parade by Kevin MacLeod from Compotech.com. It's licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. Please see the MP3 comment tag or show notes from pottopicpodcast.com for more information.
I didn't know that plays could possibly come into the choosing factor, so I'm not going to include. If you don't mind, I'm not going to. Yeah, no,
Careful now.
I'm not going to include them. Yeah, there you are. So what I will do is
Whiskey's finished, everyone. Listeners,
Hey!
gutted.
Yeah,
Right.
now you can drink my fucking cider, guys.
Sounds good.
Right.
Pour it in.
So
anyway.
I'm going to split this between two, if you don't mind, given that many other people have as well. One, as in schlock that has sort of... No, bugger it. The genuine, serious, classical respect...
Carry on.
Let's just start again.
Sorry, I will stop beating my pop shield with the bottle of cider.
Let's just start again.
No, you won't.
So, the genuine, serious books that really have actually had a profound effect on me...
Motherfucker, what'd you say you got about my mum?
That your mum...
Again.
Told ya.
We need some bloopers, dude. Carry on, Hal.
I didn't realise that you could have plays within this. I am never going to get here. Someone doesn't want me to answer this.
In fact, I haven't bothered starting the timer. Like, I know this.
Wicked.
And start.
And I didn't realise that basically you could have plays in this. I'm not going to include plays, so therefore the classics that really, really, really changed me that were fascinating were...
First, you want to fuck your mum. Start again!
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's radio play on BBC Radio 4 will be Oedipus, You Want to Fuck Your Mum. Act 1, Mumfucker. Scene 1. Hello, name's Oedipus. Like your mum, she looks well fit. Right.
No. I think you'll find scene 1 of Oedipus starts with, make me some breakfast. It all goes downhill from there.
Is this Oedipus Rex or Oedipus in...
Oedipus Rex, he wants to fuck his mum, but he's got tiny arms, so he can't pin her down.
Right, let's do this. Let's do this. How?
Super 300! Right, okay. And...
I'm now speeding up because...
Sorry. We are recording this on file. I'm not cutting this shit. I need to leave the room.
Your favourite books.
Go.
I didn't realise that
Absolute and unequivocal, unabridged
with diagrams.
Yeah, I know, actually. No.
We are podcast corpsing right now.
I am very genuinely interested to hear your favourite books, Hal.
Okay.
Because I know it's going to be an interesting experience.
Ladies and gentlemen, clap in. We'll go to Hal and we'll be sensible.
Yeah.